Dudes
represents a clear and present danger to the national security of the United States.
You have no idea what men are.
Hello, and welcome back to Clear and Present Dudes, a podcast sponsored by St. Jude, patron saint of lost causes and police officers. For tonight, we are discussing Brian De Palma's 1987 crime caper, The Untouchables. I am delighted to introduce alongside our regular rogues gallery of Rory O'Toole and Sanya Bjorkson, Jen Lounsbury, who I believe is a distant relation of one Mr. Al Capone.
Yes, hi, nice to see everybody, and I'm very happy to be here. And very, very distant, I discovered, but, you know, it's probably a good thing.
Yeah, it counts. It all counts for this.
Brilliant, great. Yeah, so how did you discover that you were a distant relation of Al Capone?
Grandmother's last name is, or her maiden name is Tortorico, and the Tortorico Capones are very tight. Heard family stories growing up, of course, that we were related to him, but my dad is very into genealogy and everything like that. So I wish I had it. I asked for it, but he has this whole huge document about the Capones, Tortoricos, and we're in there. I was like, oh hey. So yeah, it's his 6th great uncle. So it'd be my 7th, which I believe is a 6th great grandparent's brother.
It's incredible.
So,
that's amazing.
Distant, but yeah.
Distant enough that the movie doesn't offend you, that it's
Yeah.
showing your family in a poor light.
It's also distant enough that there's no repercussions, and perhaps any living ancestors of Elliot Ness aren't going to come and fight you. So
Yes. Sorry, Elliot.
Cool. Before we get going, I think it's our customary thank you to everybody who's been listening so far and leaving comments and all that good stuff. To implore you yet again, if you like this, please follow it, like it, share it, do whatever you want with it. But that'd be great. Much appreciated.
I grew up in a tough neighborhood. Sometimes reputation follows you.
Robert De Niro is Al Capone.
There is violence in Chicago, of course, but not by me and not by anybody I employ, and I'll tell you why, because it's not good business.
Kevin Costner is Elliot Ness.
I have sworn to put this man away with any and all legal means at my disposal, and I will do so.
Sean Connery is Jimmy Malone.
You want to get Capone? Here's how you get him. He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago way. You just joined the Treasury Department, son. Everybody knows where the booze is. The problem isn't finding it.
Let's do some good!
The problem is who wants to cross Capone.
Somebody messes with me, I'm gonna mess with him.
You carry a badge?
Yes?
Carry a gun.
Get your hands in the air!
You're all under arrest.
You fellas are untouchable. Is that the thing? No one can get to you?
Hey, everybody can be gotten to.
All right, then. Drive him to the station. Anything happens, you shoot first. You understand me?
Well, I'll tell you one more thing. You got an all-out prize fight, you wait till the fight's over, one guy's left standing, and that's how you know who won.
Just tell me, are you being careful?
Careful as mice.
I want to hurt the man Malone. I want to start taking the battle to him. I want to hurt Capone.
This man can finger Al Capone. This man can put Capone behind bars.
Well, what's the matter? Can't you talk with a gun in your mouth?
They're not approving the methods. Yeah? Well, you're not from Chicago.
Cool. So we're here to talk about The Untouchables. It's a 1987 American crime film directed by Brian De Palma, who directed Carrie, Scarface, Blowout, Mission Impossible. Produced by Art Linson, written by David Mamet, who wrote Glengarry Glen Ross, won a Pulitzer for that play, and The Postman Always Rings Twice, and weirdly, Ronin. It stars Kevin Costner in the same year he did No Way Out, which is the first movie we covered, Charles Martin Smith, Andy Garcia, Robert De Niro and Sean Connery. Set in Chicago, the film follows Elliot Ness, Costner, as he forms the Untouchables to bring down Al Capone to justice during Prohibition. It is the 3rd film in which De Niro and De Palma collaborated after Greetings and the film Hi Mom. And it's also worth noting out, we're recording this pod on the 7th of December, which makes it 2 days after the 2nd anniversary of the end of Prohibition. So that was a total accident, but there we are. The screenplay is really loosely based on Eliot Ness's 1957 book, The Untouchables, where he just really gassed himself up in terms of how involved he was in all this. And the screenplay itself is massively fictionalized, as we'll go into. The Grammy award-winning score is by Ennio Morricone, but he also was nominated for an Oscar for it as well, but missed out. The film won one Oscar, which was Best Supporting Actor for Sean Connery, and it grossed domestically $76 million, which makes it twice as successful as No Way Out was, and grossed $106 million globally. I think it was the fourth highest grossing movie of the year. So cool. Right, guys, I'm going to hand it over to you guys. What was your experience of the movie?
Forgot how good this film was, honestly. I forgot how violent it was as well. I forgot how just there's so much gore. Emma said there's a lot of brain matter in this film. Like, there's a lot of brutal headshots. There's a lot of people's, like the back of the dome getting blown away. And just to address the infant girl-sized elephant in the room, the film begins with a small child just being fucking destroyed by an IED that's just fucking picked up, and it's like, it's not even kind of like the film, it's not even kind of, oh, there's an explosion in the shop and then in the rubble they find her and it looks like she's barely wounded but she's dead, but it looks like she's just sleeping and there's some dirt on her cheek. It's like, no, she's evaporated, she's atomized. They're picking bones out of things probably after that, and it's like, fuck, this film sets out its intentions. This film sets its intentions out. It is just, you've got this score from Ennio Morricone that isn't just a cop movie score, right? Like, it's a bit dangerous, it's a bit sexy, it's a bit off-key and horrorish at times. He's pulling in all his background of everything from giallo to, horror stuff and that as well into this. Just fucking, a detective movie's score needs not be this good, yet it be one of the all-timer gunfights. One of the all-timer gunfights, almost 10 minutes of build-up, of tension, and then just brutal violence, much of it in slow motion, much of it absolutely balletic, and yet utterly violent. I love it. It's class. It is an all-timer. It's like, it's brilliant. Some bizarre choices, I think, as well in this film. Some bizarre scenes, some stuff that needn't be in there, and I cede the floor to the rest of you guys for your opinions on this film.
Right. You've brought up like 5 things there that all need to be talked about. No, it's cool. So the first one, the score by Ennio Morricone.
Yeah.
Mate, I couldn't agree with you more. An absolutely phenomenal score.
Yeah.
I like it for a handful of reasons. Obviously, Ennio Morricone, legendary filmmaker, soundtracks hundreds of films, loads of Italian films, 8 Sergio Leone films, The Thing, loads of stuff. Once Upon a Time in America, Chef's Kiss. Anyway, what I love about this score is he takes, right, the film is a gangster movie, right? But it's kind of like a Western as well. It's kind of like you've got like the corrupt town, and none of the people can be trusted because they're all corrupt. There's the bad guy who's in charge of the town, Al Capone in this case, and he's like the white hat, like out-of-towner U.S. Marshal federal agent guy who's going to come in and tidy it all up. Obviously, he's the Treasury Department in this case, but he's like the white hat, and then he's getting he's rounding up a posse of like his own good guys, like Yojimbo or the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, right? And to do that, like, obviously Ennio Morricone is like the sound of a spaghetti western, right? He is the guy who came up with the sound of a spaghetti western.
Yeah.
And it would be really easy for him to have just done that again, right? But he doesn't. He takes little bits. So there's like that honky-tonk player piano sound that he uses for the piano in the movie. So like Al Capone's doing the down, 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 down. Like, that's all done with like that kind of slightly detuned honky-tonk piano.
Yeah.
There's like a soprano saxophone that sounds a bit like a harmonica in there, which is awesome. And then my favorite thing about the Ennio Morricone score is the fanfare where they start like winning, when they do that raid on the post office, and when they do like the charge across the Canada bit, which didn't happen in real life, but yeah. And then the final courthouse bit.
Yeah.
It's like this really kind of like again, doesn't go to the Western tropes for the sounds of it. It is like this beautiful fanfare with like that, like arpeggiated, like it sounds like he's like a white knight, like on a charger with a flaming sword, kind of coming in there and like winning the day. And it sounds like they're not like a bunch of cowboys; they're like knights on a holy crusade. And they keep saying like Crusader cops, and they're like on a crusade.
Yeah.
So the score like elevates it. I've shot my word early on Ennio Morricone. I was going to say that for needle drops, but you brought it up, so I've done it. The other thing you talked about, man, is the Potemkin thing. We're going to hold that till later. We're going to talk about this the Odessa steps bit later, because that deserves more time. I'm going to cede the floor again and wing it around the room. Sanya, Jen, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting the I don't know if you guys expected it to, the scores to go that hard. I was like, wait, what's happening right now? This is amazing. It took turns I was not expecting. Like it felt Western at some points, you know, like actual cowboys going out. I was like, where did this come from? I was dying at the scene with the baby on the stairs. Like what is happening right now? And I went down a few rabbit holes in terms of the Capone violence that I kind of saw, and I was like, oh, this is very, very violent. And the little rabbit holes of things like, did he or did he actually not do these things in real life? So I really enjoyed it and glad I watched that.
Cool.
Weed.
Sanya, we kind of came up with this movie because you mentioned that you've seen it before.
Yes, us talking about all this intense violence is sort of my fault, I suppose. Yes, we've touched on the immense amounts of violence. I am usually not a gore, blood, and violence person at all. I don't enjoy that in films at all. Somehow, for this one, I'm okay with it. There is a lot. I was mostly rewatching it, amazed by how much tension it builds the entire time, despite by today's standards being a fairly slow-paced film.
Agreed, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it gets you early with so the first scene we've seen in the movie is the setting up piece for Al Capone, where he's being interviewed by the press whilst he's being shaved by that guy, and he comes across really genial, and everyone's laughing at all these jokes, but then the barber cuts him and draws blood, and everyone's like, "Oh fuck." Because they all think, oh my god, this guy could fly for handle any minute, but we don't see it yet. We see him be gracious about it, and then continues on. But that's the initial kind of character beat of like, Al Capone might not be the nice guy he's coming across as, because everyone's a bit afraid of him. And then, as you said, Rory, you know, we get the scene
destruction of the child.
Yeah, it's in the. That's absolutely horrific. It's in the screenplay like that as well. Just has like the girl get cut off mid-sentence, and then just the shot face is gone.
Holding it, it's horrible. And even like later on, Theakus like just coming to like collect some food for a sick mom or something like that, and it's like, hey, mister, you forgot, you instantly atomized.
Yeah, there's a bit more setup for it actually in the film than there is in the screenplay. Weirdly,
yeah.
In the screenplay, so you know how in the film they have a bit of an argument about the green beer, which was a real problem at the time during Prohibition. So obviously, you'll know this as a brewer, there weren't the controls in place for like sanitary brewing processes that there are now. So what they used to have a lot of during Prohibition is like bacteria growing in the brew, I guess, which would make it into like a sour, horrible mix, and they'd call it green beer.
Yeah.
So that guy's saying he doesn't want to buy any more of it off Capone's organization because it's no good. And the guy's like, yeah, fine, buy. And then leaves the briefcase there.
He just needed to wait like 7 years before craft beer got big and sours were in fashion. And it's like, you know, oh, Mr. Capone, you've saved my fucking hipster bar with a food truck outside and exposed brickwork. And, you know.
And it's probably worth mentioning at this point that the movie is less based in fact and more based on the Untouchables TV show from the 90s, 1959. This isn't the only time that Brian De Palma would take a TV show from the 50s and 60s and then turn it into a movie. Did the same thing with Mission Impossible. But yeah, so why I say that is Elliot Ness is the star, is the main guy here, which is he was no doubt, you know, a key figure during this period, but he isn't the guy who brought down Capone ultimately for tax evasion. That was just a different guy from the IRS called Wilson. Elliot Ness in real life at the time was, 27 years old. In the TV show, he was kind of portrayed by a guy in his 40s. They've aged him back a little bit for the movie, so Kevin Costner was in his mid-30s when he played him as well. Casts Elliot Ness as a family man he was married, but he didn't have any of his. He adopted a son after the events of the movie. Didn't have a daughter. Didn't have a baby. Ultimately, got married 3 times in his life as well. The wife in this, played by Patricia Clarkson, isn't named. She's just called Wife of Ness or something in the credits.
That's
the screenplay.
That's indicative of the 80s.
Yeah, the screenplay calls her Catherine, which is not the name of any of his wives in real life. So yeah, they've kind of changed. So the real guy was apparently a bit of a flirt. After Prohibition was lifted, became an alcoholic. Just like, which is not a character judgment necessarily, but the whole sort of family man piece is just not the same. So they've done that on purpose to make him into this kind of like Gary Cooper, Jimmy Stewart kind of like white hat, good guy cop, high noon, man who shot Woody Valance kind of thing going on there. He obviously joins. There's the whole initial piece where he tries to make his mark, but he hasn't got any allies yet, and nobody wants to help him. And they have that initial first raid in the docks.
What's everyone's opinion of that absolutely unhinged Mad Max looking snowplow that they use, by the way, for the raid? That's wild stuff, right? That's crazy. I mean, people talk about like the militarization of like American police now, but back then they're driving like a fucking Mad Max war rig into a building. It's like, okay, cool, dude. Amazing.
Is based in part in fact, apparently. So that shock and awe kind of like smash the doors in, don't give him a time to think kind of thing is what he did ultimately.
Sweet.
So that is, I'm not saying the war rig necessarily. It's
like, witness me. Just like him and all his boys got the silver spray paint. I would have Ride Eternal. Fucking Ride Eternal on the Chicago road. Christ.
You don't see that shit in Chicago PD.
Sir, you do not.
So yeah, so he has that goes horribly wrong, and then we meet my favourite character and posthumous friend of the pod, Sean Connery.
Like I said, I'm being fucking accused by people of running a Sean Connery podcast. I mean, if we didn't have plans for the month of January, we could do like Seanuary or Conuary.
We could do Conuary.
However, we all know there are plans for January.
Michael Manuary, you mean?
Michael Manuary.
Maybe just save it for next year.
Yeah.
Well, we could move that to March.
Man Madness.
Man Madness. Michael Man Madness, I like it.
So what do you guys think about Connery and his introduction as character, as Malone?
It's made. He's got echoes of your dad, mate. I'm sorry. But every time I see like an old school cop in a film, it's like, that's some Norm energy. Especially in that mental Edgar Allan Poe film, The Raven, when there's a cop in it who looks like your dad. He's got big Norm energy. He does. Proper fucking heartbeat cop, man.
Does, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's got Norm energy.
Is that why I like him so much, do you think?
Yeah, it's why.
Remind me not to piss off your dad.
As if you need any further reminder.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But...
I kind of enjoyed when he was kind of poking at the, what's his name? Andy Garcia's character to try to get him to, be that person that they want to pick and like getting him riled up.
Yeah, that is so good. That's brilliant.
He was testing him. He was like, if I pull out a sap, is he going to put out a gun? And he did.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, partially he's testing him, but part of it's like racism activated.
Yeah, you do get a bit of actual safeguard racism from him later on, don't you?
Yeah.
He's
giving him shit about his name change and stuff. What's your real name? It's like, whoa, man.
Well, that's him rallying him up, but there's a bit later on where he's having that fight with the chief of police guy.
Yeah.
And he starts lamenting what's happened to the city since all the Italian Americans have come.
Yeah. I really like his fight with the chief of police because it's like, you can tell Sean Connery used to box a bit, Like, he still has the physical presence of someone who, could actually chin someone in a back alley. And I like that. I love that from him. He's like an older guy who like looks like he could still give you a bit of a hammering. And I think he's class. He's got good like physicality about him in like fist fights and stuff, even getting older and stuff. I think there's a bit of a difference between like in Firefox, that scene when Clint Eastwood is in the that bathroom fight scene. And Clint Eastwood is a guy you can see shoot people all day, right? But he doesn't have the kind of like, in my opinion, in that film, at least the kind of brawler physicality that Sean Connery's got. Sean Connery looks like he could like drink like 12 pints of heavy and then knock you the fuck out in the car park of like a flat roof pub, you know?
Very specific cultural reference.
Absolutely.
And I had to laugh too because it's I don't remember who said it or the quote, but they called him like the Irishman, and I was like, that's not an Irish accent, but you know.
Yeah, he's really not. Yeah, God.
Yeah, that's like, I saw a really great review in like the notes, the Budokai section. I'm dead happy Jen mentioned this because obviously I'll save most of the funny stuff for the end, but one of the reviews is along the lines of Sean Connery is a Scottish actor playing an Irish American cop with an accent that belongs to none of these countries. I mean, it's like Sean Connery refuses to compromise with this accent. No, Sean Connery just refuses to give a shit. I mean, he's class, but it's like the voice is like the last thing on his mind, you know, like he's...
So I'm going to drop my Sean Connery trivia at this point then. So Connery, as we've talked about before, gets really deeply involved in his characters and is not afraid of giving the director's notes.
Yeah.
So when they were putting this movie together, this is a genius thing that they did. And I think they got nominated for an Oscar for this, but didn't win it, which is mental. But they got all the costumes are by Giorgio Armani. So, like, all the suits that everyone's wearing, which is great because it's a brilliant era for cool suits. And they did lots of little things, like, to try and maximize seeing people's faces, they made, like, the brims of the caps a bit shorter than they would have been in the actual 20s and 30s. So that you didn't get, like, lots of, you know, brims of caps obscuring people's eyes and stuff, which would have made it probably a little bit too noirish, I guess. Because this movie's not really a noir, is it? It's too bright.
No, not at all.
But Sean Connery was like, I'm not going to wear any of that. I'm going to wear what I think I would wear as a working class cop in Chicago in the 90s, and then came up with his own outfit. And as you can see, he looks distinctly different from the rest of the guys. Because like even like Andy Garcia's like brown calfskin jacket thing is an Armani piece. That was the Sean Connery fact.
No, you raised a really good point about just how everyone in this film looks like the coolest motherfucker alive, pretty much. I mean, it is incredibly well costumed, I guess. Giorgio Armani, man, come on, it's like goated. And I had a feeling that Sean Connery might have had something to do with his own outfit because his wardrobe does look quite different. It also gives us more kind of, I guess, backbone to my theory that in Meteor he was just wearing his own clothes from home.
What I'm surprised by, and I thought that Sean Connery might have had more impact on the dialogue for his character, because his character has a really unique meter, and he doesn't talk like anybody else in the film.
Yeah.
He's full of like all these little idioms or things that he must have say all the time. So, you know, like the first rule of law enforcement, go home, and all that kind of stuff. Or
yeah, go home alive kind of thing.
Or stamp your feet to stay warm, and you know, all that kind of stuff, and all that kind of thing. But that's all in the script. The one big change that Sean Connery did do, and this is a pivotal change to the movie, by the way, I think, in terms of like creating an iconic scene. So the scene where he enters the blood oath with Elliot.
Yeah.
With like, you know, how far are you prepared to go? If one of him pulls out a knife, you put out a gun. He puts one of your guys in the hospital, you put one of his in the morgue. That's the Chicago way. That scene was originally going to happen like in that bit of the police office, and it was Sean Connery went, you wouldn't talk about this in the police office. You would have there is a line in the script that says these walls have ears, and they go out and have the rest of the conversation on the street. But he said, put that up front, and we'll go somewhere where people wouldn't talk about it. Because I'm an Irish Catholic, we'll do it in a church. So it was his idea to do it in that church. So you got an incredible shot looking up with like their hands, like Michelangelo, the Sistine Chapel, and you got like looking up at their heads, and then you got like the massive vaulted roof of that incredible cathedral in Chicago. Like that was Connery's idea.
This film is so Catholic. I mean, you could probably easily get away with saying that like 90% of cop movies are very Catholic, and then this is one of the most Catholic films.
I have a slight interest. I love what's the podcast? Or not podcast. Okay, I'm gonna draw a blank on it, but they explore the way special effects are done in movies. And I was looking to see what was done in this movie, and glad you brought up the church scene because I think that was they called that his signature 50-50 filters to keep the foreground and background.
Split diopter.
Yep, splitter. Yep, because I
Incredible.
having some knowledge of that, I was like, how are they doing that? And yes, yep, to keep both things in sharp focus. I was like,
I love that. That's such a good pull, and I'm glad you brought that up because, yeah, again, you see that quite a lot in like 70s pictures, and then it kind of fell out of fashion, but like Brian De Palma sticks with it, and yeah, it's like a signature thing that he kind of pulls out. He does it in this. He does it in, I think he does it in Mission Impossible at one point as well, which is like wildly unpopular kind of shot then. But yeah, there's lots of thing that that's sort of linked to this. In this movie, there's a lot of shots looking up at people from a Dutch angle, and then you see the roof of the ceiling of the building they're in behind them, which you don't see very often. But because they use lots of brilliant real locations in Chicago for this, so like you get it. You get the vaulted roof in the cathedral. You get that beautiful ornate roof with like the chandeliers and stuff in the Lexington Hotel that Al Capone's in as well, when he's, when he confronts him on the stairs going down, and also the Opera House where he's doing these little bits of the press as well.
Yeah.
If a guy steals from me, I say you stole. I don't pick him up for spitting on the sidewalk. All that kind of stuff. That's brilliant. Yeah, cool. Really good pull. I love that. Thank you. Cool. So we have that cool meeting on the bridge between Malone and Connery. Jabs him with a nightstick. What's with a Mahaska? And who would claim to be that which is not? Love that. Brilliant. And he's like the special source. He's what Elliot Ness needed to start this investigation proper, because no one was going to help him, but he's got this one guy, and he's got all the good advice. Don't trust anybody. You don't want to avoid picking a bad apple. Don't get one from the barrel. Pick one from the tree. And then we go and see Andy Garcia, and we're getting the kind of wrangling the posse, putting together a team sequence. Andy Garcia, we talked about in our last episode, doing a weird foghorn leghorn thing. But in this movie, he's fantastic, right?
And just when he's introduced in this like incredibly turbo cool pistol range sequence, when like the camera kind of goes down like the ranks of the dudes who are shooting in like a normal kind of stance the time, and then he's been turbo fucking alley with his revolver in his like tracky bottoms and that. Joggers to our American cousins, but in his pure tracky bottoms, and he just does that incredibly rapid draw and just what's essentially a fucking augmented Mozambique drill, because there's a few in the chest, then a few more in the head, and it's like, it's sick. I actually had a go at like trying to replicate that today at my local range with a 22 caliber Mark 6 Webley air pistol. Fucking hell, I'm so bad at that kind of draw, it was embarrassing. I mean, like, I've shown Mike the video already, and like, I've got a bum shoulder, so like, it's difficult for us anyway, and like it's like it's like a period accurate pistol. It's a heavy fucking pig of a thing, and it's like, and there's just a friggin' moment when I'm trying to like adjust and get an actual sight picture, so it does not look as cool at all as how our boy does it, and it's sick. It's what a scene. Then of course you've got, as I said, Connery's like, I'm gonna get some fights out with you. I'm gonna give you shit about your changed name. I'm gonna, get you raged up, and yeah, it's brilliant. He baits him into joining the team.
Our fourth untouchable is a guy, a fictional character. I should point out that Malone wasn't a real guy. I think he's meant to be a real guy who's called Marty Lahart, who was a real Irish cop who did help Ness out. He already knew Ness before he came to take up this particular role in Chicago, and he actually outlives Ness as well. So he survived these events and died after Ness. There isn't a one guy who fits the role of Andy Garcia, and I already mentioned an IRS guy who was running a different investigation and didn't meet Ness during it, but he's kind of inserted into the movie as this character Oscar Wallace, who is doesn't get a chance to properly say where he came from, but he's now part of the team, and he's the guy who keeps bringing up tax evasion. And it's like, obviously if you know the history, you know that's what he eventually gets done for. So it's kind of like, I mean, inserting that.
I will say something about this guy's character. The this is America. They're not going to make the IRS the heroes of the film, right? I mean,
yeah. Could you
Jen,
imagine,
am
like,
I wrong?
Department of Works
Am I
and
wrong on
Pensions?
this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
No, not the IRS. It's like everybody's like, ugh.
yeah,
I don't-
yeah. It's like fuck that. Can you imagine like a similar British film would have HMRC as the heroes, and literally no one would go and see it. It would do worse than Morbius.
Well, the reason why they kind of did this, what everyone objected to was like a rich cheat getting away with not paying his taxes. So Oscar Wallace, he's the fourth Untouchable.
Yeah.
And it takes a little while for his idea of getting for tax evasion to sink in with everybody. And when he, because Elliot Ness is like is feeling a bit glum and down about, when he first introduces himself, he just literally walks out of the room.
So it's like, no, fuck this. I'm gonna come back, and there better be a 6'2" Chad in the position of this standard issue fucking 5'4" nerd.
Yeah.
This little man who might have fucking contagious polio. No.
So in the screenplay, after the failed raid at the very beginning of the movie, he actually writes a resignation note, and he's about to hand it in before that guy comes in, and like, I can see that why that wasn't in the movie, because that would have been like ridiculous. Like, we've just had the scene where he first rocks to work, has one bad day, and then he's like immediately going, "Oh, fuck this!" Like, it's like, that's not very heroic.
I mean, I have worked with people who've literally done that, but then again, I don't work in law enforcement, so
We have tried half a time. We didn't get Al Capone. I am out.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
then we get the really
Um,
cool bit, which is Malone proves his worth and has the good intel straight away on where the booze is, and is like, right, I need one more guy. We need one more guy. And Oscar Wallace walks in, going like, "Oh, the dispensary of this funds," and everyone's like, "Shut up, nerd!" And he's like, "Oh, you're a federal agent? Yeah. Carry a badge? Yeah. Carry a gun."
And like,
It's a great delivery. And then it just cuts them, and again, it's awesome music, and it has like pan up of
Yeah.
the street, the one street they've decked
Yeah.
out to make it look like the 1930s, and they just confidently stride across it with these like
Yeah.
pump action rifles, walking towards like broad daylight, walking into a post office, which a lot of people would probably be alarmed at. And as they're walking through the post office, you see people are like going, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Yeah.
Like,
What I
flipping
love
out.
about that scene is I am pretty sure at no point do they identify themselves as federal officers.
They
at
just
all.
walk in,
They
and
just
then, like,
walk
through
in
the back.
with fucking shotguns, and it's like, what the fuck?
So
Like,
good.
it's like America.
And there's a brilliant bit which they added in the movie, which isn't in the screenplay. So
Yeah.
they get around the back, and it's like the door that is for the stairwell that's got a little sign that's saying like "stairwell out of order," whatever. But it's clearly just the door into the warehouse where they're storing all the booze. And in the screenplay, they just break in straight away, like literally, like Connery just grabs an axe and just cuts into it. But they have that really cool moment where it's like, once we do this, we're stepping over a line, like in the last time, and then it cuts to like Connery, and he just goes, it's like, "Yeah, ready to go, let's do it." And they break in, like, "This is a raid, federal agents," and then like guys like, "No, this is still good. This is still good."
and fucking just shooting up at the ceiling as well. That's like the 1920s. You go in, fucking shoot holes out of the ceilings. Like, we're the police, man. Amazing.
"Where's your warrant?" And just hits him on the
Where's your
stomach.
warrant?
"There's my warrant." How do you think he feels? Better or worse?
We always laugh so much when we do police films. You notice that?
Yeah, I do. It's so good, man. Yeah, brilliant. God. Okay. Yeah, so that's the first success, and they kind of highlight the big important point, which is like, everybody knows where the booze is. It's just like nobody
Yeah.
wants to cross Capone, so this is them like
Yeah.
putting themselves out there, marksmen now kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I love the narrative economy of that. Like, literally, like, I know where the place is. We're gonna go straight there, do the first raid. That's it, and then they get to like their celebratory dinner. And where they get the iconic photograph taken, which is really nice. I like that scene.
It is class. It's nice to see it work night out.
Look now, everyone's enjoying themselves. And it was, do
Well, works do when there's no fucking drama.
you know why? No drinking.
There we go. There we go.
Oh man,
Couldn't be
yeah.
me.
I've got a works night out coming up for Christmas, obviously coming up shortly. And my boss wants us all to come in the next day and climb up a hill. It's like, have you ever seen Band of Brothers where like they climb up Currahee at the beginning, like 3 miles up, 3 miles down? It's basically what my life's going to be like next week. I'm not looking forward to it.
Brutal.
Don't let your boss feed you spaghetti beforehand.
But yeah. It's just an afternoon. Of, like, actually, just literally say it on the XTM as well. It's like an afternoon of like lectures. We're running up Curry, gentlemen.
No pain.
Depending which path you take off, that might be a lecture that could cause serious bodily harm. But oh well.
So yeah, they have their works night out. They introduced the St. Jude's. It's really nice. It's better in the movie than it is in the screenplay as well. They don't talk about that in the screenplay. There's just an awkward moment where a waiter tries to give them grappa and they all thin him out. And this is like it's probably the only clunky bit of David Mamet writing in the screenplay is he just says, Malone says to Elliot Ness once he's thinned out the waiter, he goes, "You're all right. I like you." And it's like he would never say that.
No, he would not. He would deny liking anyone.
I'll tolerate your presence.
Here, man, your proper sound.
So once again, I've talked loads. So that's the first little bit of the movie. Any other thoughts bubbling up?
So we get the sequence sort of when like they're introduced and stuff, like they're having the work, but when they have the works night out and having the nice photos taken and stuff. After that is the next bit when they just head for the border and they do this crazy operation in Canada.
Yeah. The only thing that's in between is Capone's baseball bat speech.
Yes, that is brilliant. I was watching that. Obviously, I know what happens in it with Emma, and I'm like waiting for like the shoe to drop, and she's just kind of like just chilling watching it, and just the scene when just there's that explosive violence, and he just raised the shit out of him with a baseball bat. It's fantastic. It's man, Bobby De Niro. He's got that dog in him for just controlled bursts of psychopathy. You know?
Yeah.
Love the whole sequence.
Just gonna bring up there's another little rabbit hole I went down under for Capone because it's like I've granted my distance in relation, but family was saying like he didn't do things like that. He didn't shoot up the wall of people. I know that scene. They were saying that real life incident was potentially not done specifically by him, and they were trying to blame it on his like other people that worked for him because they did in fact die from gunshots, not just a blow to the noggin. So, but yeah, there were other marks that suggested that they weren't just beating by bats. So take that for what it's worth, but there's a lot of myths around Capone and whether or not he actually did those very violent acts. And
That is really interesting.
The family was like, he was set up. Okay.
He was a simple businessman.
Doing business.
The CIA did it. They set him up.
Yeah, so I think related to that, there's so the round table dinner piece is a fiction, I think. And then what they've talked about is the potential real life incident is that there's a couple of lieutenants that were looking to unseat him that he then executed. And then there's an argument about whether it really happened, but like there's one argument that he did hit them with baseball bats and kill them that way. And then, as you've alluded to, talk about they were executed maybe at his word or maybe not at his word, but by other people and then shot them up. Yeah, so it's really interesting. Yeah, and this is a thing we're going to keep coming back to is that this film over-eggs how violent Capone's organization was in lots of ways. Without wanting to spoil it too much, they didn't go out of their way to like kill cops, or certainly not federal officers. They did do some of the bribing, but they didn't do the violence so much because that would have brought them too much heat, and it would have got the organization shut down a lot quicker than it ended up being. But yeah, no, really good point, John.
Mike, you mentioned looking at the shot from that scene when the camera's like looking down, and you said it looks like there's like a knife stuck in his neck or something as well, and you thought maybe that had been cut out of it.
Yeah,
I haven't had a chance to rewatch that bit, but
yeah, so I looked at that and I couldn't find anything about it in the screenplay either. As the shot then goes into an overhead and then pulls out, classic Brian De Palma crane shot, and as he's doing it, it looks like he's got like a knife, like a brown wooden handled knife, which is like at odds with the silverware on the rest of the table, like sticking out his neck. You don't see anyone stab him or anything, so it's kind of like, yeah, weird. I don't know.
I thought that was his cigar.
There you go. It probably is a cigar.
Myth
Thanks
busted.
you, sang it. Mystery sort of myth busted.
Myth busted live on Clear and Present Dudes. Fucking
I'm not
get
going to delete
This
it. I'm
is-
going to keep it in. I'm going to keep it
Do
in. I'm
not,
afraid
yeah,
to
man,
be-
yeah, man. Do not delete it because, like I said, this level of integrity and investigation and deep thinking is why we boast tens of listeners.
And then, speaking of things that didn't happen, they go to Canada.
Split.
Yeah, so they never did this. It's an invention, but I like it because it again harps onto this kind of like it's a Western vibe because they're all on horseback and hats and leather jackets. It's really cool.
Yeah, it felt like we switched genres for a second. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys just wanted to do horses and guns and ride around.
I just remember watching that man going, they're on horses now. They're on horses now. I love how they're all adept horsemen as well, even like the little like nerd guys like able to ride a horse. And it's like, I mean, I guess the only other option is from like riding pillion behind like Sean Connery with his like arms around his waist or something. but like, I mean, I just love how these guys are just so absolute super cops. Of course they can ride horses, of course. They have this operation to coordinate with the Canadians, right? And the Canadian Mounties, like, do they like go before they should and just ride in and start like shooting? Like they just like start laying down fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the age of the officer leading them and the time this film's set in. He was definitely in the Canadian forces in World War I doing war crimes, right? I mean, that look in his eyes, he's like, yes, back in the saddle.
He doesn't approve of the methods.
Yeah, yeah, back in the fucking saddle, lads. He's just like painting German faces mentally over all these Americans he's shooting. It's like,
Yeah, so I think the Royal Canadian Mounted Police get a bit of a raw deal in this movie. They're kind of shown to be a bit silly, and that particular captain is shown to be a bit of a buffoon, isn't he?
yeah, like he just goes in and starts shooting stuff. He doesn't listen to I mean, he's briefed on what to do, and then almost immediately doesn't do it.
Yeah, and he also briefs as well that surprise is half the battle, and then he gets shut down by Kevin Costner, as Elliot S, who's like, I don't know what his credentials are, but he was like, lots of things are half the battle, losing's half the battle. I want to think about all the battle. And it's like that doesn't mean anything.
Good grief, man.
Like what you've just said, it's words. They are words. They don't mean anything though. It's not a coherent thought. Like that's not written in Sun Tzu.
I was about to say Elliot Ness talking like he's read the Art of War a couple of times.
That's
but, like,
your close.
Not taking anything in from it really.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're right. So the Mountie officer fires from a pistol at range.
At massive range. He's just happy to be involved. I mean, he's the opposite of the polite Canadian. He's just an angry, heavy-set, mustachioed man who's just popping off needlessly. He's not going to hit anything. He's just having a good time.
Speaking of members of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police who had involvement with the city of Chicago, Constable Benton Fraser wouldn't have done this.
Due south. That's the way I'm going.
Jen, have you heard of the TV series Due South?
Maybe.
So my wife is American, and she wasn't familiar with it either. But I thought maybe that's because she's from Texas and it's the South. But it turns out, guys, that's like a British and Canadian thing, and the Americans don't have it, even though it's set in America.
Shit, man, that's wild.
Yeah, so it's a TV series.
Yeah, I just pulled it up, and yeah, I've never heard of this.
Yeah, it's epic. So. Yeah. Wow. Is it worth talking about it very briefly? That's a Royal Canadian Mounted Policeman. His father is also a still active serving mounted policeman. Gets murdered by some people or a person who's tracked going back to Chicago. So therefore he gets a secondment to Chicago so he can solve his dad's murder. He's helped by the ghost of his dad throughout and a deaf wolf that he owns. And he teams up with a local Chicago PD detective called Ray Vecchio, who's a bit of a sleazeball, but is great. There you go. That's it. Brilliant show. Watch it if you can.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the movie.
I know when you first mentioned it, I thought you meant Brandon Fraser. I was like, wait, what?
Oh no, the character's called Benton Fraser.
Benton Fraser, yeah.
Played by Paul Gross, Canadian actor. Anyway, right, so they have a big shootout. Our guy Oscar is brilliant goes mental with the riot gun.
So good, man. He goes on just this absolute fucking I love the trope of like the little guy starts kicking off and he just does this mad, virtually suicide run across the bridge, shooting from the hip, dropping people left and right, runs out of ammo, and then just, incredible. God bless him.
It's
He
even
really
better in the
went for it.
screenplay. In the screenplay, after that happens, he pulls out a pistol and shoots a man in the back as well.
Oh, that's absolutely class, man, honestly.
It's like, wow.
Oh, that should have been in the film. He should have switched to a sidearm and just mag-dumped some guy in the back. Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
So they capture a guy called George who is carrying a ledger, and they go to interrogate him in their little cabin, but he's a hostile witness, or
He's
is not
not
cooperating.
cooperative.
But before that, we didn't mention it, but before that, there's another guy that tries to seek refuge in that hut that Elliot has to kill. And so there's a dead body outside, and during the interrogation, it gets a little bit heated. Sean Connery slaps him around a little bit, gets told to go outside, and then he does some improv.
Just absolute. I mean, that's like offense-wise, that's abuse of a corpse, right? I mean, that's like even in the 1930s, that's probably like lose your job territory when he just picks this guy's dead body up, interrogates it a bit, and then blows its already dead brains out over the window. It's like, good grief. And that now that's the Chicago way.
So Pauline Kael, the film critic, said that this film was a bit bland because the good guys were too good and there wasn't any grey like morality in there. But I would argue that is a little bit dodgy. And there's a bit towards the end of the movie where Elliot Ness pushes a man off a building before due process has taken place. I would say that's also a little bit morally grey.
I would postulate that Pauline Kael didn't watch the whole film.
Possibly. I like Pauline Kael for a lot of her work, but I do disagree with her on this film, and I disagree with her tremendously on Raiders of the Lost Ark as well, which you didn't like.
Yeah.
But,
I know, it's like, I mean, Sean Connery's entire character is like, he may as well be wearing a sandwich board over him, which is like, things are grey in my world, not black and white,
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's like a do what you need to do to get home safe kind of thing. And if this means blowing the brains out of some dead body, fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's brutal as well. It goes to the most gory thing he can do as well, which is like, blowing his freaking brains out. A very, very quick diversion of TV. In the TV series Ripper Street, in one of the first episodes, the first season, there's a plot when so Ripper Street's like, if people haven't seen it, it's like a police procedural set in London shortly after the Jack the Ripper killings, based in the same like police kind of precinct, I guess, which was involved, like specifically, I think H Division, which was the specific like area on like the specific precinct, I guess, station house in Whitechapel, which was involved with the cases. And there's this kind of character gets arrested in a brothel and he kills himself out of Victorian shame. And there's this like other case going on, and like this guy's like killed himself in the cells, but like the main guy whose name I've forgotten, the actor, and his like sidekick, Jerome Flynn, have to interrogate this other dude. So Jerome Flynn gets this guy's dead body, fucking hangs it up by its wrists from the bars in the cell, and just beats the shit out of it, just beats the brakes off this dead guy. And it's like, I don't know if blowing a dead body's brains out is worse, but it probably is, because it's like you're making that a closed casket funeral, right? I mean, I don't know what's worse, just like chinning an already dead guy, or just permanently, irrevocably disfiguring a dead guy, right?
So
yeah.
So it's interesting.
Massive grey morality.
So this is like, right, the act of it certainly is. I don't know if the film treats it like it is. This is like the midpoint of the script, right?
Mm.
And it gets a bow tied on it when the Canadian officer goes, "Sir, I do not approve of your methods." And he goes, "Well, you're not from Chicago." And it's like, this is them saying, right, this Untouchables, these guys, their unit is set up, they're fully embedded, and they've had to take the fight to Capone's guys on their terms, like their violence. It's a bit like in one of my favourite films, The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, where there's that incredible speech between Theodore Critchnall-Schuldorff and Clive Candy, where they say, like, if you want to beat Nazis, you have to use Nazi methods, because if you try and do might is right and be good and respect the rule of law and everything, you'll get beaten, because they don't care about that, and you've got to meet them at their level to wipe them out. And that is in the script in this as well. So like when Elliot Ness is making that case to the judge right at the end, he's like, I've become that which I've beheld, and I need, and this man's a killer and he will kill again, and I need to stop him, kind of thing. That's what he does. So the component parts are there. So this bit happens at the midpoint, and that bit is where he gets to at the end of the movie after he's killed Nitti, throwing off the building. But the vibe of the film doesn't really reflect it. Like we're still kind of on a roaring high here after like this successful raid, and then the next thing we get is like Capone kicking off about it and being like really annoyed about it. But like, there's no inner turmoil with any of these characters. They all fully believe in what they've done and what they're doing is right. And we, as the audience, we swept along going, yeah, fuck yeah. Sean Connery should have shot that guy in the head to make the other guy talk, because those guys need to be stopped, and these guys are the good guys, even though they're doing the exact same stuff.
I think as well, historical context of when the film came out and what's in the media and stuff, and we're seeing films when cops are going to massacre everyone and get away with it kind of thing. So yeah, like, it's watching it in like a 2025 mindset. It's like, oh shit, that's actually a bit fucking shitty. That's kind of like, that's abuse of a corpse, dude. That's messed up. But in like a 1987 mindset, it's like, the police should massacre everyone to see and then kill them again once they're dead.
So it's weird to think about it. So this movie came out in 1987. Obviously now it's been like 92 years, 90 odd years since the events of this movie took place. In 1987, it was like 45, 50 years.
Yeah, that's something I was just thinking a day. Like,
so it was a lot closer.
There were people like alive at that point who'd been involved in that,
It's a bit like, exactly. There were guys on set who were there involved, who were like technical, advisors and so on. It's a bit like, the comparison now would be something like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or something, like set like late 60s, early 70s, So it was much closer to people's living memory at the time. That's a weird thing. I think the other thing as well is because it's the 1930s and it's like a foreign country to us.
Yeah.
Like everyone, even the hoodlums, even the worst criminals are cutting around in these like incredible Giorgio Armani suits and stuff. It doesn't land for us the same way as it does now. And because of it, and even though again, it's really, white Catholic versus like Italian American story, essentially. That's never really brought into sharp relief too much. There's a couple of scenes where they talk about it, but really, if we're watching it as a bunch of white people in a room talking about it, we're watching a bunch of white people shoot each other.
Yeah, when there's obvious kind of, I mean, like, there's a time when like Italian American people weren't considered white by some people at the time, kind of thing, and like,
yeah. But in this movie, it's Robert De Niro who's like one of the most renowned actors of his age at the time, I'd be interested to see how this movie would have done had it come out in 1992 or something, like immediately after Rodney King. I don't know if it would have made that much of a difference because it's so different looking, and people might not have drawn the same equivalences, but at the end of the day, it's a bunch of cops going around shooting people like without any blowback on them whatsoever,
Yeah. No real oversight.
Probably overthinking this a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it's not that kind of movie, but don't know. So the next thing we get is De Niro kicking off. I want him dead. I want him dead. I want his family dead. I want his house burnt down. I want to piss on the ashes. One of the greatest crash outs in cinema history.
Yeah, it's an all-timer crash out. All-timer.
Now is a good time to talk about Elliot Ness's wife. We mentioned it already that she is basically not a character.
Yeah.
This was like I say golden age in scare quotes, time for like the wife of the main guy character being a thing and just not getting any characterization. She has this is Patricia Clarkson's like first cinema debut in feature film, but it's an utterly thankless role, isn't it? Like she's a great actress, capable of so much more, and she just gets to be like the sort of mooning and like, oh, I miss you, and oh, you're great. Maybe you could come back into my room and brush my hair. It's just like
I mean, this film's like so powerfully Catholic that he gets her pregnant just by her saying, "Do you still have some energy left?" And then like about 20 minutes later, there's a baby. No, it's like she has done dirty. I mean, she's barely done it all by this script. She's hardly in the film, and it sucks. It's like you said, really good actress. So it's kind of up there with. This is the first film we've done, I think, when she's just credited as the wife, right? I mean, it's actually just credited as
Ness's wife is what a credit is.
So we've had two films now when the president of the United States is credited as just the president. And this is the first one when a major protagonist's like wife is just Ness's wife. That's kind of messed up, man. We shouldn't keep a running tally of this because it's a bit sad.
So the next thing we get in this sequence is the brutal slaying of George, who agreed to testify, and Oscar Wallace in that service elevator.
Yeah.
This is probably, I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth here, but this is probably one of the more violent sequences. I think it's probably the one that's most shocking to me. But I'd like to hear anyone else's thoughts on that.
It's pretty grim. Second film in a row when there's a very fatal firefight in a lift/elevator. Because obviously Smoking Aces had that amazing one, which wasn't a one-sided firefight. It's like this one is. You just see brutal executions carried out by Frank Nitti. Shooting that poor nerd lad in the face, man. It's cold and it ends in just the absolute violent desecration, blood on the walls with touchable and stuff, and it's the way it's shot, like just in general, the camera work at like the opening of that scene, and the camera shows you that it's Frank Nitti who's got into the lift and he's got a police uniform and he's the T-1000. I mean, sorry, he's the yeah, they just get utterly erased. It's brutal. I really enjoyed it. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely see this. And then, like, at that point, it's like, well, you guys are apparently no longer untouchable. And it's, like, probably more real for them that their team's now getting taken out.
Absolutely thinned out.
Loki making an appearance.
Hey, Loki. Look at him. Oh, little dude.
Oh.
Am I the only one here without access to a cat?
Yes. Amend that.
That is outrageous. This is unfair.
You are missing great joy in your life.
They should let me keep cats in the barracks.
You need a barracks cat, mate. You literally need a barracks cat.
Like the Navy cat from like, what was it during World War II? They had the cat and they made him his own little paperwork. Was his name George?
The one that was rated as an electrician or something.
I think so, yeah.
It has all the funny little jokes in his paperwork.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh my God. Incredible. Oh, yeah.
I would generally...
Get a barracks cat, dude.
Yeah, I would just Mike, generally not recommend for the Royal Navy to take on board any German cats.
Why?
Have you not heard of Unsinkable Sam?
Oh, I have heard of Unsinkable Sam.
Yeah. One of you should tell the tale at this point. Tell the tale of Unsinkable Sam. Spin the dit.
So that was, if I'm not mistaken, the ship's cat of Bismarck, which was rescued after the sinking and put on the next best British vessel, which then proceeded to be sunk. And once again, the cat was rescued and put on another Royal Navy vessel, which in turn again was sunk. And once again, the cat survived. I don't know if they did it
like trauma.
A third time, but eventually they gave him like a shore post in Gibraltar or something, and were like, we are not letting this cat on any more ships because what the hell?
Absolute Gemini.
I was going to say
yes, they should have named him Midshipman Hollum.
Incredible scenes.
That's wonderful.
Scenes. So good.
Yes, so the Untouchables are now touchable.
Yeah.
Little historical note here as well. So the beginning of the movie, an alderman from one of the districts in Chicago tries to bribe Ness. And he's one who says, "Oh, you guys untouchable? Is that it?" Really, they were awarded their name from a journalist called Charles Schwartz of the Chicago Daily News, who coined the term untouchables. So just a little bit of history there.
This is kind of where you start as... Sorry, this is kind of where, like, it starts, like, infer more about, like, the kind of corruption that's involved in, like, the kind of police end of it, isn't it, as well? Because, I mean, first of all, like, you see, like, someone looks out and sees one of the cops has been killed, which is then allowed Nitti, and I said Nitti to get the uniform and stuff or whatever. And then, like, it's sort of, like, it all kind of, like, homes in on the chief of police and how he's dirty, and then we'll have this, like, kind of showdown between him and Sean Connery's character, which I think's mint. I think it's a great scene.
Yes, exactly as you say. So Mike Dorset is the chief of police, and it's implied, it's a lot more clearly inferred in the screenplay that that Malone and Mike came through together at the same time.
Yeah.
and that Malone's obviously kept his morals and it has put him back in the police, so he's still walking the beat as a beat cop 30 odd years into his career, whereas this guy has made himself up to a chief because obviously he's played the game and he's looked the other way when he's had to and all that kind of stuff. He's also revealed, however, to be the source of the information for like some of these raids, so he's obviously like goes back with him a long way. And he's trying to help him out, but at this point now, it's gone a bit too rich for his blood. He doesn't want to be involved anymore, and now he wants to be out, and he doesn't want to help out Malone anymore. And he says to Malone, maybe don't get involved, maybe go out of town for a bit, maybe just keep out of trouble, kind of thing. And that's no good for Malone. So the inciting incident, I guess, is that the DA doesn't want to continue with the trial because they've lost a key witness. Even though they've got other physical evidence to tie it together, which is not strictly true. Well, there's two bits that aren't true. So in real life, the IRS investigation came to this. They preserved the witness didn't get killed, so he did testify. The bookkeeper did testify, and the DA was never against it for reputational damage reasons. He just always wanted to do it. But for dramatic effect here, they've made it so they need to get another silver bullet in order to get it. So they're going to get the actual bookkeeper, this other guy, Walter Pace, I think his name, Walter Payne, sorry. Malone needs to get the information about how he's going to find out where he is, and he's going to get it from this mic, and that's why they have that brawl in the alleyway. And it's a great fight, and I know you want to talk about it, Rory, so tell me about that fight.
To be honest, I've said really all I wanted to say. I like the fact that it's Sean Connery showing the fact that he does know how to throw hands, that he's like believable. I mean, I always said that in like the Connery Bond films, he plays an excellent thug, he plays an excellent brawler. And most of the films when he has to kind of slap people around a bit and give people a bit of a beating, I think he's really believable at it, and it's class to see.
It's a character of great pathos for me.
Yeah.
So again, it's hinted at more clearly in the screenplay, but he carries his dad's police badge and has the same number as his dad. He's living up to that memory of his dad, and I think that has been his moral compass going forward. He's thinking like, what would my dad have done? My dad wouldn't have went to bed with all these Italian Americans and their organized crime. He would have told them where to get off. So you can see that he's been married but isn't married any longer, and we don't know that story. We learn precious little about him. In fact, Elliot Ness doesn't even say his first name in the whole movie. So he's Jimmy Malone, but you never get a James or a Jimmy out of Ness. So we learn precious little about him, really. Just that he's been around the block a bit.
Yeah.
And he's a hard man, and he's probably got quite a lonely life, and he obviously lives in quite a austere apartment on his own, So when he's doing this, he's putting himself out on the limb, and he's agreed to do it, and he doesn't care about the consequences anymore. And then now he's having a fist fight with the chief of police in this alleyway, bathed in this red light. And it's like, this is like his final kind of, we don't know it because we haven't seen him get killed yet, but this is his final big hurrah, really. This is his final big contribution to the war effort,
Yeah.
So he has this fight. It's really physical, really brutal.
Yeah.
They both take lumps throughout of it.
Yeah.
That guy pulls a bit of loose wood, starts hitting him with a bit of wood.
Forgot all about the wood being used on him. Shit.
Connery fights dirty as well. He kicks the guy in the pods to get the other hand.
He's a brawler. Like, he's a fucking brawler, as he is wont to do. So.
And he's like, are we going to keep going around the houses here, or are you just going to give me what I want, basically?
I was genuinely worried in this scene. I was like, is he going to kill that guy?
Yeah.
I thought it was going to go there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And, and like, if there's any character in this movie that could have done that, it would have been Malone,
Yeah, 100%. Nobody else in the film is a beat people to death kind of guy. Well, sorry, nobody on the police side of things is a beat people
apart from the guy who we see beat someone to death.
Yeah. Malone's death comes shortly after this, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. So Malone leaves a message for Elliot Ness to go and speak to him straight away because he knows where the bookkeeper is. But before Ness can go and see him in person, Malone is assassinated, essentially. And you have that fantastic sequence where DePalma's used a Steadicam operator, but instead of it just being like an ethereal presence floating through a space, like, and this is a good thing, like it was used in The Shining, really, really well.
Yeah.
Instead of that, it's a person walking through space, and we're looking through their eyes. And he does this a few times in different movies, and it's really, really well done here. And the way he hammers at home is that you see the hands like manipulate stuff. And I don't know how they did that. If that the camera operator was doing that himself, if DePalma was operating that camera and doing it himself, which might have been the case. Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost as if the scene's been ripped from a different style of film. It's just these moments when it deviates a bit from like a like detective movie kind of thing. This is one of them. It's fantastic. Just as kind of the kind of slow and sinister pace of this like home invasion, and it's excellent. Sit there in silence and watch this happen. It's fantastic.
It's really menacing as well. Like you do generally, again, it builds attention, and this one builds tension in lots of different ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of the more exciting ones. It reminds me of a film that came out by Steven Spielberg last year called Presence. Did any of you guys see that? No. It's like a ghost story about a family who move into this house, but the house is being occupied by a ghost. And Steven Spielberg operated the camera himself a lot of it, and it's just him walking around the house, basically. And people are having conversations and stuff, but it's not shot as if... It's not like a bunch of different setups. It's all through the point of view of this ghost walking around the house. It's an okay movie. It's a really interesting experiment.
That's cool, man.
But it's a whole movie, basically, of this sequence. And then you get the guy who thinks he's got the jump on Malone, or we're led to believe he has, and then Malone pulls out his sawn-off shotgun and chases him out of his house, but sadly that's the trap he's walked into.
Yeah, that's the setup, and he gets a significant amount of shots to the chest from Frank Nitti's Thompson gun, and damn man gets set on the pathway to meet St. Jude personally. It's funny because the Chicago way thing, right? He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. Malone's got his shotgun in his hands, and this is the one moment when he deviates from the Chicago way, because from all of Malone's character, you should think there's some guy in his house with a knife. Malone's going to give him both barrels and then, just say, come and get a van to take away this body, and then just do a few Hail Marys or something. But this is the point when, like, he kind of deviates almost from, like, the way he talks about, like, living his life and working as a cop, And this ends up with his destruction, which I think is interesting kind of writing. I'm not sure I fully, like, understand what's going on with him, like, the character, because, like, the character that was shown of him is just going to give the guy both barrels and then maybe reload and shoot him again, because,
Yeah, it's almost like a necessary sacrifice for the state of the screenplay, isn't it? Because it's back end of Act 2, kind of everything's gone bad. I get that. But I think from the first time I saw this movie, when I was like in my probably early teens, the image of Connery crawling along the floor, leaving that massive blood trail behind, that's the indelible image that this movie was in my brain until I started rewatching it again on the regular in my 20s, because I love this movie. Until that happened, that was my one core memory of it, and then I picked it up again. But horrific. I don't know if a human being would be able to do that, take that many rounds and then make it that far. And
rip to everybody else who's eaten half of a Thompson gun's drum mag at least to the chest, but Malone's built different, right? But they have to have this scene when he's bleeding out and dying in a strong Irish American coded fashion, which is then juxtaposed to Al Capone going to the opera and crying at Pagliacci in a weak, girly Italian American mode. It's like this film has opinions
until he's told about it, and then he starts laughing, and it's like, oh, it's grim. Yeah,
that is grim.
Ness and Stone finding Malone's body.
Yeah,
as he's still alive, he's still alive.
And he's going for the.
He's going for the St. Jude, puts it in his hand, and he just throws it out of his hand, and he's actually his final act. His final act is telling them where the bookkeeper's going to be.
Yeah.
That's enough. And his final words as well, he kind of barks them out. The music starts swelling really, really high at this point. So you don't properly hear it. And he's coughing up loads of blood and stuff. But he gets his final words are, "What are you prepared to do?" And then he dies. And it's like, and that, of course, that is like the the big theme of the movie, isn't it? For the Untouchables, what depths are they prepared to sink to? Again, I think it gets lost a little bit in the hi-ho silver kind of fun of it all. But yeah, a more artsy-fartsy film might have lingered more on that.
I wonder if like David Mamet kind of workshopped having his last lines to be, "Here endeth the lesson."
There's a lot of so this is a classic Mamet thing, isn't it? There's lots of repetition of different little phrases throughout the movie. So we have that, and then the next thing we get is one of probably the greatest, most iconic bits of cinema that has occurred purely because of a budgetary constraint, which is the Odessa Steps homage in the Chicago train station. So just to, I'll let you guys run with it, but I'll set it up by saying that in the screenplay, there's two sequences that I will cut out, and the first is there's a whole, frankly, ridiculous sequence where they look for the bookkeeper, because the bookkeeper is betting on the ponies, and the ponies betting on is called Paymaster. And they decode that and realize they're going to go and find the race where Paymaster is running, and they go to this place. Turns out it's all a big setup. There's a giant gunfight that happens. Loads of people die, including what they think is the bookkeeper. Turns out it's a decoy, and they discover it by ripping off a fake mustache of him. So they don't. That's not in the movie. And then the next sequence, yeah, I know, right? Not my missed opportunity of the movie.
Wait a minute, this is a fake bookkeeper. Pulls up a little mustache. Come on, man.
Yeah, literally, and like
bad.
Yeah, and then Malone's like, "Oh, looks like we're back to square one." It's
the all is lost again.
Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, that doesn't need to be there. So that's like 5 or 6 pages you can cut out. The other bit, the big climax, where they get the real bookkeeper, was meant to be taking place on a moving train. So Elliot Ness and Stone like rush ahead and park their car in the middle of the tracks, and then hightail it back further along the train, I guess. This doesn't make much sense. And then they hop onto the train as it's moving and fight their way through the carriages to get to the bookkeeper. And on the train is like a priest and some other civilians, like a small child and stuff. So it's not quite the same. Neither of those sequences, I don't think, would have worked quite so well as what we get in the final movie, which is this single location, really clear geography of what's going on, amazing sequence in the train station. You know, as homages Battleship Potemkin with the baby stroller going down the steps. But yeah, Rory, this is definitely your wheelhouse shootouts. So I'm gonna hand to you and everybody, please.
Yeah, this is so my wheelhouse. I just watched this scene just earlier before we started recording, just to kind of remind myself of it. It's 9 minutes long, and it packs so much in. They didn't need to go as hard with this. They didn't need to make it this good, and yet it's incredible. From the opening beats of it, from the angles it's shot at, the echoes of Stone's footsteps through the building, Ness getting himself in that kind of like essentially kind of overwatch position, and then you start to see people coming out, and then there's and then there's the old woman with the baby thing, and it's like, he's got to be the crusading good guy, so he's got his fucking shotgun under his jacket, and he's just bringing this kid up slowly, and like the mom's like, "Oh wow, you're so nice," and he's just not saying a fucking thing, because like he's like, "This is bad, this is really bad. Why the hell am I doing this, man? Why the hell am I being a gentleman at this point?" And then when you start seeing the kind of filtration in of the bad guys, and they're coming through, and like there's no clear like front line of kind of contact in the scene. There's no like the white hats are on the left and the black hats are on the right kind of thing. It's obviously you've got both of our heroes are in like kind of odd positions for the gunfight, right? Because Elliot Ness is essentially they're like around him, right, pretty quickly. And then Stone kind of runs in from. Go on.
I was going to say Ness is almost essentially in what you'd call like a kill corridor.
Basically, yeah.
He's put himself into like, because he's enclosed on either side by higher ground down a straight line funnel, and he's blocked by the bollards on the his side of the. So the stairway is broken up into 3 lanes essentially, with 2 sets of bollards going down them, handrails even, not bollards, and so he's stuck there like. Trapped on like one side of the
and then just he gets the carriage almost to the top of the stairs, and then that one guy that he'd previously beaten up who comes out, and it's like it's on, There's only like literally one more step for this thing. He turns around and just one-handed tags on the shotgun, and it's off, and it's crazy. And I love the mom's reaction. I just love how ape shit she goes, because you would. And it's like you're watching her whole arc, her whole development is, oh, this is a really nice guy who's helping me with the baby carriages. Oh, you're so gentleman, you're so nice, you're so cool. And he's not said anything like, be cool, but I'm a federal agent and we're on a job kind of thing. He's just been stoic and stalwart. Maybe he doesn't like talking to women that much, you know? I mean, we're all a bit on the spectrum here. He could have that going on, but then he just whips out his emotional support 12 gauge and blows this guy away, and the mom is just screaming, just going fucking nuts, and straight away there's just this massive amount of gunfire as Buddy Stone runs over with a pistol in each hand. You see some excellent headshots. There's those bits when those poor fucking sailors just try to help, man. Those poor matlows.
Dies.
Poor guys, they're in a peacetime navy that didn't expect this shit to happen on the streets of Chicago. They didn't expect it to happen at all, and they get zapped, and it's kind of like, this is the point when it goes so slow motionally, so balletic. It's brilliant. And you noticed how Elliot Ness is like ambidextrous in this film, right? Like he shoots with his right hand, his left hand.
I saw that because the first shot he takes is with his right hand, isn't it?
Yeah, so he's using his shotgun right-handed. He drops that, he switches with sidearm, which he pulls out from a cross-draw holster, like under his armpit. And then when Stone gives him his other pistol, he's using his left hand for that.
Because he's holding the baby carrier with his right hand, and Stone's holding it up with his feet.
But in the raid scene at the start of the film, I'm sure you see him holding his 1911 in his, is it 1911? I think it might be. In his left hand. So I'm incredibly autistic about guns, and I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty... yeah. There's just, it's merciless, the violence. There's not just blood, there's gore, there's bits of, as my wife pointed out, brain matter splattered around.
Yeah.
And then it gets to the real climax, the real culmination of it, when Elliot Ness and Stone manage to stop the baby carriage, and there's that one guy who's like, I'm getting out of here with the bookkeeper, and the amount of sweat that's pissing off the guy, it's incredible. It makes Tom Sizemore look positively dehydrated, you know? Like I mean, this second time I've referenced this now, but that video when Papa John Schnatter was like having his crash out, and he's like, these people don't know pizza like I know pizza. I've had like 31 pizzas in the last 28 days. And he's just more sweat than man. There's that fantastic scene. There's a fantastic culmination that everyone knows, and it's one of the fucking best parts of the film when it's like, you got him, yep. I'm going to count down, 1, take him, bang, blows his fucking brains out. And then there's just a significant amount of gore on the wall. The guy falls down dead. Mike, you were saying in the screenplay, doesn't it say that his head just erupts?
Stone raises his gun and fires, and the bodyguard's head disappears in a shower of blood. That's what it says in the screenplay. It's like, ugh, that's pretty horrible. That's actually more gory than what happens on screen.
Yeah, that's the Tarantino version of Rambo, isn't it?
Holy crap.
Yeah, it's pretty.
That's crazy. There's nothing in their arsenal that's going to make someone's head completely disappear unless it's like a 12 gauge at fucking incredibly close range.
There's two really cool things about this sequence I want to raise. The first is when Elliot Ness locks eyes with the guy who's got the bandage on his nose.
Yes, yeah.
So that's not in the screenplay, I don't think. And that's the bodyguard that he punched in the face and the stomach.
Yeah.
Who's coming down to stop him when he goes to Lexington to confront Al Capone. And he's like, because he's like, you killed my friend. And that guy's like, I don't care. And he punches him in the face and goes, do you think he cares now? That's that guy. So that's a really cool bit of like, that's him going, right, it's on now because I know that guy. Yeah. These are his guys. I know that guy. So that's a really cool bit.
And that guy knows him as well, more the point. That guy
knows him. It's like the both. You're the guy who punched me in the face.
Yeah, like the both aware of each other at the same time, and that's when everything changes and it's fucking go time. That's why he's got to make the hard man making a hard decision thing of letting the fucking baby go. Emma, by the way, was like shit the whole time with that baby carriage.
Yeah.
The way how brutal this video or movie was, I was like, that baby's not making it out of this video too. They're not afraid to
the carriage takes fire. It gets shot as a
It
whole.
does, yeah. At least once it takes one hit, right? Like towards its like real.
Yeah. The other cool thing I want to point out was we get early exposure to the weapon that Andy Garcia throws to Elliot Ness at the beginning.
Yeah.
So, because if we hadn't seen it earlier in the movie, it would have been a cheap trick to go, by the way, Andy Garcia just happens to have 2 guns. But when Sean Connery is trying to goad him at the beginning at the shooting range, he doesn't pick up the pistol he's just fired with. He picks up a second concealed weapon that he's got on his person, which is the really small, snub-nosed, like silver one. And that's the one that he throws to Elliot Ness.
Uses, yeah. It's like, I love that this guy's going through police academy, right? And he's got a fucking backup gun for his literal training sessions. It's like, this is the guy that you want. It's like he's like, listen, 2 is 1 and 1 is none, right?
Yeah, that's what we say.
But I love, obviously, because it's like based on, like you said, the really iconic scene of the Odessa Steps in Battleship Potemkin, and I don't think the baby survives in that film. By the way, I watched that scene earlier, and I think it's inferred that, you know, like the whites wipe out pretty much everyone on those steps, including the baby. Brutal. You've got like these like kind of interesting scenes as well, because obviously like the scenes in Battleship Potemkin, the baby's looking so distressed, like incredibly distressed. And in the Untouchables, because there's only so far that can go, the baby isn't looking that like agonized, you know. That step scene is riffed on, and it's a whole trope of itself. And it's got a TV tropes page and stuff. And I've had a quick look at other things in which it's been kind of sent up. So in films, I don't agree with 100% of these, because it's like, are these really homages? In the film 71, Gary knocks over a woman pushing a pram while being chased by IRA gunmen. That doesn't sound right. In the film Brazil, there's a short sequence that remakes the 3 most iconic shots, but with the baby carriage replaced by a vacuum cleaner.
That's probably legit, because Robert De Niro's in both.
Evil Easter 3. Ozu shooting the Nazi ape in the eye recreates the famous eye scream from the scene, which is incredible, but something that made me laugh here.
Can't speak to that one.
It references a film called Fantozzi. Fantozzi. There is a film within a film in this Italian work. No, I've never heard of this film, but this sounds actually rad. In the second installment of the movie series, the titular white-collar worker, Ugo Fantozzi, is forced alongside his colleagues to watch a much longer parody-named version of the movie as a routine ritual demanded by his boss. It is during the Odessa step scene when the protagonist snaps and yells, "To me, Battleship Potemkin is nothing but crazy bullshit." Then the narrator, Fantozzi himself in first person, remarks in an epic tone. 92 minutes of applause ensued. This film sounds bonkers.
Right.
We also have the French Connection has 2, a mother pushing a baby carriage being shot and so releasing it, plus a shootout down a staircase. No. I wouldn't say the staircase scene in the French Connection is no homage to the Battleship Potemkin scene at all. I mean, it's
so.
No. This is like, there's a lot of reaching done on TV trope stock.
If stuff happens on stairs,
Yeah.
like John Wick 4, there's a really long fight on the steps up to Sacre-Cœur. Does that count? Probably not.
It's like, in just a moment I saw Ellie walking down the stairs, so that's my cat now in her own little Battleship Potemkin scene. So that's wild to me. I think apparently there's like an homage to it in the second season of Andor as well that I haven't seen yet. But
I'm trying to think when that would be.
Do you want us to pull it up? I'll tell you what it claims it is. In Season 2, Episode 8, a contingent of stormtroopers descends a set of broad plaza stairs while firing into a crowd of peaceful protesters assembling the
Yeah.
I mean, if it's so is it like the steady, or like marching steadily down and shooting at them kind of thing? Yeah, like in Lane,
that bit. Yeah, that bit's accurate.
So,
but and then they're kettling. What is it? They're kettling a load of people into a big courtyard.
Yeah. So. Yeah, fair. I mean, that does sound kind of fits. Yeah, I mean, because obviously, again, an iconic thing about like the Odessa Steps scene is the fact that the like white troops are kind of marching in like line down the steps and just shooting, marching and shooting again, kind of things. Yeah. Anyway, that was a clear and present day version, like about 5 different films.
Before we move on from the train station sequence, I just want to throw the floor over to Sanya and Jen if they've got anything to add.
Yeah.
Or not.
I was just the I need to rewatch that scene because I don't know where the Navy men where they came from. They just like popped up and were shot.
The
Is that
two that
right?
pop up, it's crazy, yeah.
Okay,
just looking
I
at-
thought
yeah.
I was imagining that. I'm like, I need to go back and watch that because I don't know where they came from.
Yeah.
The steps were completely empty, like almost the whole time, and all of a sudden now there's people getting shot, and then they're just
Boned in.
taken out by one bullet, and then poor Malone's like taken out by like 50 bullets and still walking, or not
Yeah.
walking, but I was like, I just found that fascinating.
So that's the power of an Irishman. That's the power of Irish Catholicism. Those sailors, Protestants,
That explains it.
Lutherans, just one shot, done.
Sanya, you got anything to
No.
chip in at this point?
No.
Okay, cool. I will say one thing here. The bookkeeper is played by Jack Kehoe. I don't know if anyone knows this guy. I know him primarily from being in Serpico. I just want to get that mentioned for the third time in
shit.
3 podcasts. I love that movie. So with that, they have the silver bullet they need to take Capone to court. So the final bit of the movie is this trial, I guess. So we cut straight pretty much to the DA. The bookkeeper's on the stand, and the DA is saying, "We're going to have you decipher all of these entries into ledger, and we're going to have you say where all the money's going." And he's kind of bullying him a little bit. He's like, "Yes." He's like, "Oh, louder! I didn't quite hear you." So you've got Ness and Stone, and they're sat right behind the where the DA is sitting, and they're looking across over to Al Capone and Frank Nitti and his defense, and they're all looking pretty happy with themselves, and they're getting a bit riled up, like, this guy, we're hammering the nails in this guy's coffin, and he's smiling. Like, what have they got? What's going on there? And then they notice Frank Nitti is packing some heat. He's strapped in the courthouse. So he's like, that guy's got a gun on the courthouse. Get the bailiff over. So they want to escort him out, and so they do. And I think you see for the final time, you see his wife. That's his wife in the back of the courthouse watching. So,
I'm also here.
I'm also here. Yeah.
It's like,
it doesn't explain what they do with her. They pack her off in the night at the beginning of the movie. You don't really see her again for ages. In the screenplay, it says that she's
been her off to have a baby.
Yeah.
It's almost if it's like an unwanted pregnancy of like a Hollywood starlet or something. It's like,
So they in the screenplay, she's in a prison in Wisconsin under protective custody. Anyway, they get Nitti outside into the hallway, and this would be a callback to the very beginning of the screenplay, but it's a scene that's cut from the screenplay. But what happens is the guy says, "I've got a permit," and he empties his pockets out, and it says, and he produces a small note that says that he's to be afforded all the protections and whatever he wants, signed by the mayor of Chicago. And he uses that in the screenplay. He uses it in the very first scene, right after he's put the bomb in that pub and blows up and kills that child. He gets stopped by a bike cop as he's driving away, and he produces that note, and the bike cop salutes him and drives away. But they cut that from the movie, and I think that's probably a good thing. Because it hammers in that the police are corrupt too early, I think. That needs to be like a trickle in, you need to realise it as the movie's going. What happens though is Ness steals his packet of matches and then wants to light up a cigarette when he's outside, and he sees in the matchbook that it has Malone's address written down, and he puts one and one together and goes, "You're the guy who killed my friend," and he flees and starts a chase.
Excellent. I love it. What is a mode I really like that through this film, when there's like there's like double action revolvers used, right? There's a lot of like close-ups on the revolvers showing that they are correctly in like the hammer back position when like the trigger's like pulled further back, like a shorter pull. And I'm like, Emma, look, you see, that's how it works. That's how it works. You see, I'm like fucking demonstrating to us. Like, see, this film's really accurate. It's like 4 years married, she hasn't killed us yet. Right? It's great. I love a good rooftop chase and stuff like that.
There's one bit I thought might have annoyed you, but you haven't identified it, which is when they run out onto the rooftop and Nitti shoots at Ness and he rolls over the side and lands on that little platform by pure chance. Lands on that platform. As Nitti keeps running away, he turns around and tries shooting at where Ness is and gets like a dead man's click.
Yeah.
And then the next thing we see is Ness actually getting up off that paneling, off that platform, and then climbing back over the roof again. So, like, what was he aiming at?
Yeah. What? No, it didn't piss us off, actually. I also was quite impressed to see Nitti reloading as well, because obviously...
Yeah, that's the next thing he does.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, it's the 80s. They're often kind of getting guns wrong in films, and it's nice to see, weapons being handled by people as if they know how to handle them. It's also a period film, so I don't need to get mad when people aren't doing correct trigger discipline, because apparently it wasn't a thing according to all the historical photos we see. Like people are running around with the fucking booger hooks on the bang switches, and it's like, come on, man. I am terrible to walk past like film like kind of posters with MX. I'll go finger, hit a fucking booger hook off the bang switch, son.
I want to call out. Maybe we should do it in casting, but I'm going to do it now anyway. Billy Drago, who plays Frank Nitti, is phenomenal in this film, and I don't know. He's looking at his career. He's been in lots and lots of stuff in small roles, and wouldn't you know it, he plays like an evil bad guy in most stuff because he has a pretty like almost quintessential evil grin, right?
Yeah.
But he's really menacing in this, and his other known for credits aren't of the caliber of this. Like it's like Delta Force 2 with like Chuck Norris, or like Tremors 4. The last thing he did was yet another remake of The Hills Have Eyes in 2006. Yeah, but this is brilliant, and he's really good in this, and he's really menacing, like properly menacing. And I say that because, for all the moral ambiguity that goes on in this film, it is still genuinely, like, super satisfying when he gets thrown off that building. You feel bad. I feel bad as a human being. Yeah. But, like, when they lob him off and he's like... Because he's like, but your friends screamed like a stuck Irish pig. Think about that when I beat the rap. And he's like... Fun, you're not gonna beat the rap, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, man. God, fucking.
Where's Nitti? He's in the car. Oh, man.
Bars, what a line. Hold up, his writing is this fire.
Yeah. So that's really cool. And then I'm gonna barrel through the end of the movie because we're nearly there. Stone finds looking through the belongings that was taken out of his pockets and left before the chase ensued, that one of the things he's got is the list of all the jurors and the bribes that have been paid.
Yeah.
They sidebar with the judge to try and get a mistrial or get a new jury. The judge doesn't want anything to do with it. He's like, "Oh, there's no evidence for this." And it's like, mate, it's so obvious, and it's really obvious that he's obviously been paid off as well.
But he tells him, doesn't he? Like he says after the fact, he's like, "Oh yeah, so I told him he was on the island. I mean, sorry, on the list in the ledger, in the Epstein book. I mean the Capone ledger."
Yeah. Absolutely. And then there's a line actually in the screenplay that is not in the film. And it's probably like almost too fine a point on it because it's pretty obvious what's just happened. But it quotes that bit from the Bible in Proverbs. Where is it? Here we go. The evil flee where no man pursueth. That's what Ness says. Again, more bars. But the point being that the guy's got a guilty conscience, and even though we have no evidence he was in the ledger, just saying it was enough because he knows he's done wrong. So so they swap out the juries
with a divorce case.
Yeah,
are divorce cases heard by juries in America? Because that's wild.
I don't think anymore, because it's a civil action, right? You don't have a jury for a civil action. But I don't know what happened in 1930. Oh,
I think it's just like you go through a lawyer and send off a shit ton of paperwork to a judge, and they sign off. As far as I know.
Yeah, I wonder if it was much harder to get a divorce in 1930.
Probably.
Like women weren't even allowed to have bank accounts, were they, back then?
No, that was not allowed until like the 70s because I work for a financial institution and we always have to do like tests and quizzes to make sure we're up to date on everything. And that is in there. Like, women not allowed to have bank accounts and need to have a co-signer if they wanted loans and things like that. So yeah, I'm going to doubt that a divorce was easy in the 30s.
That's terrible. Okay, cool. So we're right at the end of the movie, and the judge has now been shamed, or is afraid of what truths might come out. So he switches the juries. This finally puts the wind up Al Capone's defense. Al Capone's like, what are you going to do about it? What can you do about it? he changes his plea from a not guilty plea to a guilty plea. The music swells in. This is it. Either way, he's going to be going down, and they'll be seeking the maximum sentence possible. And it just turns into absolute pandemonium in the courtroom. And I love this bit. Just everyone's crowding around. The reporters are trying to get in there. Ness doesn't want any of that. He wants to go and confront Capone. It's just really, really brilliant moment.
It's tremendous. It is absolutely mint. It's great. It's like just when you see finally the legal system is doing the right thing after everyone being gang fucked by like the law for like significant amount of the film. Even Frank Nitti with his like get out of PE letter that he's got, you know. Like, just gonna lay off this guy, you know? It's like, some of the mayor and shit, and it's like, finally you see civil society doing, like, the right thing at the end of the film, and it's like, all it took was, like, the deaths of some of the most beloved characters in the films, and also a lot of, like, extraneous people who didn't have to get killed. Little girl at the start, those two sailors who were only trying to help. If they'd been Catholic, they would have survived the shots, but they were Lutherans, so they're done. And it's just, yes, it's like, the payoff is tremendous. The payoff's tremendous. The swell of the music, it's mint.
Yeah, you get another callback to another David Mamet-esque through line for the movie as well. So one of the things that keeps coming up is, you know, you don't call a fight until the prize fighters throw the punch and one guy's down, the other guy's standing up. That comes back again. You know, you keep fighting until the last man standing. Here endeth the lesson.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool. So that's really gratifying. That's a really good payoff. And the music again sells it. That's that big triumphant fanfare again that I mentioned earlier. And then you get the final little bit, and I wasn't sure if this bit would have made it in. If you've just read the screenplay, this might have got cut, but actually it does kind of work. Is Ness back in his office clearing down all the press clippings and put them away in files, reflecting on all the violence that's happened over the last, like, however long he's been doing this, 4 years, I think. And the final little line of the movie is the reporter that I think is the same reporter that first spoke to him when he first arrived and took the iconic photograph and all that kind of stuff. Says, you know, I hear they're going to repeal Prohibition. What are you going to do? And he goes, well, I think I'll have a drink.
The crowd goes wild.
Crowd goes wild because it was never about drinking. It was about the law of the land. Yeah, very cool. Oh, nice. What is this? Just explain to everyone who's listening and not watching what that is.
Just so my kitchen is essentially a theme pub, loads of crazy crap on the wall, and I have pulled from it a postcard of some people protesting Prohibition. Bunch of guys in these garb marching down the street holding little American flags and big signs reading, "We want beer." So for all of you who are doing this theatre of the mind, that's what I've just pulled out.
Tremendous.
Tremendous.
Cool. Well, here endeth the lesson, and here endeth the movie.
Yes, I do.
Good. Give me that action.
All this stuff is impounded. You're all under arrest. Hey, this isn't right. Hey, this is no good. Got a warrant. Oh, here's my warrant. How do you feel now? Better? Or worse?
Welcome back. We're just going to talk through some categories of the movie, as we often do. First one we often talk about is casting, and normally of the smaller bit players in the movie, what other stuff they've been in, and their role in this movie. So in that, we all know who Kevin Costner is, although at the time people didn't necessarily. This was the same year as his big breakout through No Way Out, the first movie we covered. Very much like a guy in his rookie season, pretty much getting a shot at the big time. And this movie catapulted him into stardom, I think. But again, surrounded by seasoned actors, the likes of Sean Connery, Robert De Niro. But some notable firsts in this movie. I mentioned earlier on, Patricia Clarkson's first role was in this movie. A lot of people know her now for being one of the cool parents in Easy A. But yeah, great. Or Tammy Wan from Parks and Rec. I mentioned earlier Jack Keogh, who is a great that guy actor, but his most known for roles, he played one of the bent coppers in Serpico, who's the first copper who tries to get Frank Serpico to take a bribe. He's in The Sting as well. as Erie Kid, and he's also in Midnight Run with Robert De Niro as well as Jerry Geyser. Midnight Run's a fantastic film that we should cover one day.
We should indeed. God damn, he has done a lot. He has done a significant amount. There we go, Serpico, obviously, Fairmont TV. He's once again another one of the that guys who was in Quincy, MA, Twilight Zone. He's done a lot of great things. He got out of acting in 1997, but he only passed away in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Guess he was just resting on some royalties and residuals. Good for him.
Someone we didn't mention, but we don't need to because he's famous enough. Andy Garcia, I forgot to mention him.
Yeah.
A lot of people will know him from Ocean's 11. I mentioned last week that also he was in Mamma Mia, Here I Go Again. But and The Godfather Part 3 was a big one. Here's a one that you're not going to be expecting. Do you guys know who John Barrowman is from Doctor Who? Captain Jack from Doctor Who. So he is one of the policemen in the lineup doing the firing range.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
Well, he really has been around for a while then.
Yeah.
Hey.
Very good. Yeah, that was my most interesting one of casting anyway. Yeah, cool. Any others?
I was going to mention Billy Drago's filmography because, like you said, this guy's done an insane amount of work. He does these like kind of bit parts and tiny things, and then he'll like do like just major kind of films like this, and like with which have budgets, you know. And then like a few years later, he's in like fucking Walker, Texas Ranger. Actually, you know what? This is sad, but I feel like he kind of fell off a little bit after this film because he's done like he did. I mean, he did like Pale Rider and stuff, you know. And Christ, he was in Trapper John M.D.
Brilliant. MASH spin-off.
MASH, yeah. After the Untouchables, he does kind of fall off, which is a shame, really. I mean, that kind of sucks. He's busy. He does a lot. He was in, for instance, Secret Games, straight to video, Gun Crazy, Death Ring, 1993, Lady Dragon 2, The Outfit, Deadly Heroes, Cyborg 2, Glass Shadow. He also did The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. A lot of this stuff was like straight up like in like the cutout bin at Blockbuster, but he's putting in the work. I mean, as you said, he's a guy who plays the villains, but so many of these films that he's done and shows, I will tell you one thing, have fucking really cool names, really cool titles that I want to watch. For instance, one of these ones is called Blue Devil, Blue Devil. I want to watch that like now because that sounds class. And then he's in something called Soccer Dog the Movie. So this guy who I think could have played a really good T-1000, I was only partially joking when I said he was T-1000, is up in a film called Soccer Dog the Movie, playing the dog catcher. He was also in that Monkey Business film. Is that the one when like... I have to be very careful with what I'm saying with this film. Hold on, I want to make sure I'm doing... Yes, it's the one I'm thinking of. Two ex-cons tried to frame the good guy detective who sent them to jail. However, a group of kids shut the gangsters' operation down with the help of some friends from the animal kingdom. These films don't sound real. They sound like something from BoJack Horseman. It's ridiculous. He was in Nash Bridges. Holy fuck. Sorry.
While you were going through that extensive list of his filmography, I was looking at Charles Martin Smith, who played Oscar Wallace.
Yeah.
Little guy.
Yeah.
He was in it, and I didn't know this existed. They made another TV series of The Untouchables in the 90s.
Yeah.
It had 42 episodes in 1993, and he played like a judge in like one episode. But Elliot Ness was played by a guy called Tom Amandes. A guy called Paul Regina played Frank Nitti. The only two people who I know from other stuff that are in it, John Rhys Davies, i.e. Gimli.
Yeah.
Salah from Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Played Agent Michael Malone.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And Michael Horse, who you might recognise from Twin Peaks.
Get in.
He is Agent George Steelman. But yeah, that's it. Really weird. Sorry. Just threw that in there.
I have the vaguest memory of watching the Untouchables TV series that you mentioned on Sky One back in the day.
Sounds about the kind of thing.
I have one of the vaguest memories of it. I also have this like kind of weird Mandela effect with some of the, and this kind of ties into the series thing. I have a weird Mandela effect with Sean Connery, because I was convinced there's a scene in the film, and after Malone's been killed, You see his body in like the mortuary, and like the kind of like lifting up the kind of like, you know, sheet to show his face and stuff. And I was convinced that was in the film, and I wonder if that is in the TV series maybe. Because in hindsight, it's not going to be in the film because Sean Connery won't learn another accent. He's not going to sit for 5 hours to have people put dead guy makeup on him, right? You know, he's like, no more of this dead guy shit. You know, he's fine playing a dead guy, well, a dying guy, but he's not going to like sit there and get the Deathly Pallor shit put on him. So I think that's where kind of Mandela effect on that comes from.
I tried to see if there was any redemption for our poor little girl in the beginning. Her name is Aditra Cole, and no, that was the only movie she was ever in. So she was probably traumatized. Like, I was blown up in this movie, never again.
Man, I just have this idea of like Showbiz parents pushing her into being the kid that gets exploded, and afterwards she's like, that was actually shit. I wanted more lines. You're a terrible momager. And then she just quits. And then she does off-Broadway stuff after that.
Shall we proceed to quotes then?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you kick off, Rory, since you have an interesting quote you want to bring.
Yeah. So I love the scene when Malone's like, Italian detected, racism activated. So it's when he's starting giving Stone shit about his name. What's your real name? That is my real name. What's your, before you change it, Giuseppe Petri. I knew it. That's all you need. One thieving wop on the team. I had the weirdest, again, Mandela effect about this. I was convinced in the film he called his name an Ellis Island hand-me-down. Right? I was convinced that line was in the film. And you know what that line's from? An episode of Malcolm in the Middle. Now, this...
What?
This, right, is maybe a tick in... My wife's got a running chart, I think, of does Rory have CTE from quite a few bonks on the head. I wonder if I'm getting fucking CTE, man, I tell you what. Because, like, I was convinced, that's a Ellis Island hand-me-down, that's your real name. Like, no, it's like, literally, it's like a racist old lady in an episode of Malcolm in the Middle says someone's name is an Ellis Island hand-me-down. But yeah, just that whole scene is eminently quotable.
Your long-term memory was like, I'm going to put that in the same bit of the filing cabinet that Sean Connery lives in.
Basically, it's like, I say that you're a lying member of a no-good race. Much better than you stinking Irish shit pig. I like him. Incredible, man. It's like, did we just become best friends? Yup.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
That's great. All my favourite lines in this movie all come from Jim Malone as well. When he first meets Ness and he's got the nightstick and he's like, okay, pal, why the Mahaska? Why are you carrying a gun? So what's the origin of the word Mahaska? I love it.
Yeah, Mahaska, what the fuck? It's amazing.
Why are we still saying that? Why are we saying strapped and packing it? No, mate, I've got my Mahaska.
I've got Mahaska, yeah. Mahaska.
He's
I
like,
have
I'm a
never
treasury
heard
officer.
the word Mahaska at all. It's like it's like the Dollar General version of ayahuasca. You know, like it's like you want to really trip balls and purge some black vomit out. You go for the Mahaska, mate.
Oh man. And then he's like, wait a minute, what the hell kind of policeman you got in this goddamn city? You just turned your back on an unarmed man. It's like, you're a treasury officer. How'd you know that? I just told you that. Who would claim to be that? Who was not? like a wise old Yoda.
I was gonna say he's like violent Yoda. It's like
who would claim to be that? Who was not?
yeah, it's like turn my body cam off, I will. Resisting you must stop.
A badge you carry, a gun you must. Oh, man.
Officer Pro-Nisness reporting for duty.
Oh my god.
Right. I've got two. So one is the one I wrote you guys earlier, which is just this is amazingly out of context. Like, is this the guy that can finger Capone? It's like, okay, guys, this is taking a weird turn now. I mean, this is very liberal for a Prohibition film, but what?
With his consent.
What is going on that top floor of that hotel?
I don't know what. And the other one is just that moment in the train station where Ness says, "Take him."
Yeah.
So that really shows the change from that. I want to get him, but I want to get him like legally and cool, and I
Yeah.
don't want to do anything that is like too extreme. He sort of has to get convinced to even shoot someone, and then he's just like, take the shot.
Yeah. He's like, shoot that guy.
Yeah.
Explode his head.
Explode his head with your 38 caliber extra special.
I think I know we mentioned this at the beginning. I think you pull a knife, you pull a gun. He sends you to the hospital. You send the one to the morgue. It's a Chicago way. I don't know. It is like very extreme. It's just badass.
It's bars.
That's
It's
iconic,
incredibly
isn't it?
badass. Yeah, it's fucking
Yeah, that's one of those clips that I'll dig out on YouTube now and again just to enjoy that scene again.
Yeah. Get yourself pumped before an interview or something.
Yeah. That's the Chicago way.
It's the Chicago way. Hell yeah.
You pulls a knife, you pull a gun. Yeah, it's so good. And there's a behind the scenes little featurette that I watched today where they talk about some of the stuff in the production of the movie. And Sean Connery is just giving an interview, and he quotes that entire monologue just in the interview, and it's just as good. I'll try and find it. And I'll send it to you.
Fucking treasure.
I like the bit where they're interviewing. They're trying to find the two new recruits. And the one they talk to before they get to Andy Garcia.
Yes.
Who like just can't talk. He's like, why do you want to be a police officer? He's like, to protect the, I'm not looking for the yearbook answer. Why do you want to join the force? The force? Yeah, why do you want to join the force? Because I think I can help. You think you could help with the force. Thank you very much. You've been most helpful. There goes the next chief of police.
Bars.
So good.
Bars, honestly.
Absolutely brilliant. That's also not in the screenplay. Like, the screenplay really needed some work to make it funnier.
My favourite one, of course, is Jim Malone firing his gun to stop a suspect from running from away from him in the Canadian countryside. All right, enough of this running shit. 11 people found that one helpful, and I maintain that might have been an ad-lib. Because I think Sean Connery probably at this point had there was a ticking clock on how much he'd run in a film. He's not going to exhaust himself for these people. He's Sean Connery at this point, man. He's like, I'm going to run a bit, then I'm going to stop dickhead,
When he's kicking off at that guy as well, back in the cabin, and he's like, you're mucking with a G here, pal. You'll hang as high as Heyman unless you cooperate.
Yes, hang as high as Heyman.
Love that. What's it? Oh, man, it's so good.
I'm sorry, I'm dying.
Needle drops. We talked about Ennio Morricone's incredible score earlier on, so I'm not going to labour on this. There was a couple of Duke Ellington pieces in the movie as well. And obviously Pagliacci as well. Trivia. Okay, right. So, ordinarily on trivia, I would just come up with a list of IMDb and read through that. But I've got some other trivia as well that I found for this movie. I'm going to go through a list of inaccuracies that I detected from my internet research that I did today. Capone never stored any of his booze in a federal building, so he never stored one in a post office, for instance. Ness predominantly hit locations where the booze was made or sold, so he wasn't tracking shipments or going to customs yards. He was going to speakeasies and breweries and distilleries. There were up to around about 10 guys in the Untouchables at any one time, on a sort of a bit of a rotating door. They had different jobs. There was a guy who was a handwriting analysis expert. There was a wiretap guy. They were doing lots of varying roles. So it wasn't just 4 guys with guns kicking down doors and shooting people. It was a pretty sophisticated operation, which isn't really shown in the movie because it's not as fun. The whole way that Al Capone got stitched is totally different in real life. So the tax evasion was proved similar to the screenplay, not so much in the movie, but they discovered of all the different companies and that were feeding his organization, one of them was a dog track, and the ledger from the dog track hadn't properly encoded his entries and was making payments to just Al, which is really obvious if everyone else has got all these fake names. So then they got the handwriting from that ledger and linked it to another ledger in the organization and made the connection that way, like a legitimate thing that mentioned something like that. And that's how they did that. The bookkeeper lived, testified at Capone's trial. Ness and Capone only met at the trial and not earlier. Ness wasn't involved in the trial, really. He was just spectating at the trial. He wasn't sat right at the front talking to the DA or anything. This was all the IRS's investigation. His was just a bit of a side piece. And I mentioned that Frank Nitti isn't killed like he was in the film. He survived. He took on Capone's operation for another 12 years after this and didn't die until he killed himself the eve of his own trial when he was getting done. But one thing that is true, which I was surprised at after all that, was that the juries were really bribed and they were really switched like in the movie, which is pretty cool.
Wild. That is wild.
Yeah, so that's the history bit. Have you got any cool trivia?
I have some great trivia, especially based on actors and the weird shit they do. So, Sir Sean Connery turned up at the shoot in his golf clothes. They did a close-up and Sean was dismissed for the day. Andy Garcia and Charles Martin Smith grabbed him after the scene and said, "That was very clever of you. You just got back from golf, turn up for 5 minutes and do your scene, and that's it." Connery turned to them and said, "This is not my first barbecue."
That's brilliant.
So De Niro wanted to wear the same kind of silk underwear as Al Capone, the same style of silk underwear as Al Capone wore. It would never be seen on camera, but the producers, knowing De Niro's reputation as a method actor, gave in. There's a limit, right? I mean, I guess at least his method acting isn't the kind of, oh, I'm going to be a menace to my colleagues like Jared Leto playing the Joker, right? Like that's just been a bad fucking co-worker, but it's like, I'm not going to argue with Robert De Niro's acting chops, but do you think he asked to keep the underwear?
If you were Robert De Niro and you were in a position to make that kind of demand, I bet if you would, right? Like
Yeah.
if you had the choice to wear Robert De Niro's Al Capone's underwear, I would do it. I'd do it. I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, definitely. Fun heartbeat, yeah. Bob Hoskins was initially signed on to play Al Capone, but then Brian De Palma's first choice, Robert De Niro, became available. Hoskins still received a $200,000 paycheck from De Palma for being a great standby. My God. Hoskins later used to tell the anecdote that he asked De Palma whether there were any other movies he didn't want him to be in.
Yeah, it's so good, isn't it? I love that one.
Yeah. A bit of a casting what if, yeah, Don Johnson was offered the role of Elliot Ness, but declined.
Can you believe that? So this is 3 years into his Miami Vice period.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have fit like the sort of Jimmy Stewart, Gary Cooper, like good guy role that's required, because he barely hangs it together in Miami Vice. He's like a deadbeat dad in Miami Vice, pretty much.
Yeah, it's based. He just doesn't have the same energy that Costner brought to the role. I think a lot of what Costner brings to the role, work with us here. A lot of what Costner brings to the role is that there's not a lot of Costner.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not a crazy out there guy. He plays a very kind of mild and kind of dull character, really. Like, I mean, Elliot Ness wouldn't be a good hangout. Like, you know,
Yeah.
he would be a cool dude to hang out with, you know. Rest of the team would be a great hang, you know.
He reminds
Stone
me
would
of...
be great to go on the piss with. And Malone, you know, forget about it. He's fighting everyone. Be amazing. You were saying?
I was just thinking a similar role that he had in terms of his type of character is when he plays Ray Kinsella in Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
Where he's just got like a wide-eyed optimism and is just like a little Boy Scout, which is the same kind of role he's doing here, except he's a Boy Scout with a gun here. But he taps into the same energy in No Way Out, but he makes that work because of the twist at the end, right?
Yeah. But in
So
No
he's
Way
not this corn-fed Iowa boy. He's actually like a, you know...
But he's also a
sneaky
corn-fed Iowa boy who does weird shit like eating bugs off a windscreen. Elliot Ness wouldn't eat bugs off a windscreen. Elliot Ness wouldn't do any of this stuff, you know? He's quite a dispassionate guy. I mean, the only like kind of real passions he has is there's a little bit of violence, there's a bit of vengeance in him, and there's the whole... tells his wife he's going to have sex with her, then she's pregnant, and then she's got a baby like a year later. So yeah, like there's not a lot of like pizzazz and vim and vigor and verve in Costner's performance, and that's what makes him. He's a good guy palette that you can kind of like put your own opinions of what a hero should be on, kind of thing. You know, like he doesn't have like complexities that someone like Don Johnson might have brought to the role. Is what I'm saying, I guess.
Yeah, man, I agree with you on that. Yeah, because Don Johnson comes with his own bit of baggage. You're absolutely right. Because he's carrying a lot more personality in his face.
Yeah, we were actually discussing like a family function. We were discussing Kevin Costner's acting last night, and I was told watch Yellowstone because Kevin Costner's not very like Kevin Costner in it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Another actor who could have been like him, I think, is Gary Sinise.
Yes.
He also has a similar kind of like everyman, could just be a really bland, blank slate kind of character as well. Probably got market corrected by Kevin Costner.
Yeah, well,
I don't know if it has really a lot to do. Well, it's Capone, but proven fact, not quite movie related, that he did start a soup kitchen in Chicago to try to rehabilitate his image.
Wow.
And then the unproven, not really. They were trying to attribute the invention of expiration dates on milk to him after his sister got sick, but that's unproven. So, but I found that tidbit interesting. I've kind of related that to the beginning with the beer being brewed incorrectly, and I was like, oh, maybe that's it. But I could not find any evidence that he actually was responsible for that.
It's amazing. That's wild.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Are there any more Capone facts?
Yeah.
I meant to ask my dad about that to see if he could give me any tidbits, and I did not hear back from him in time for this. So probably too late for a post podcast, but if I find out anything, I'll let you know. But
yeah,
let us know. We'll report it next time.
We'll await an update. Yeah, we'll have an Al Capone update from you. Fantastic.
Sounds good.
I think the final thing before we move on is I was thinking a good double header for this movie. If you want to watch a good double bill, would have been. Did any of you happen to see that movie, The Highwayman? I think it's called, which is the movie where Kevin Costner plays. That's right. Yeah, the U.S. Is it U.S. Marshals?
Texas Rangers. It's the
Texas Rangers.
You go after Bonnie and Clyde.
Correct. Yeah, I saw it when it came out in 2020. I haven't seen it since, but I remember that being really, really good.
Really good. And it gets the guns so right as well. Colt monitor machine rifle, baby. Set it on straight, spread hate and vacate, man.
Oh, they're all words. Right. Continuing on with the categories. I'm not going to ask Sanya how... Actually, no, Sanya, how would this go down in the Weimar Republic?
How would this have gone down in Germany?
Basically Babylon, Berlin, right?
I guess, but can you like imagine the concept of prohibition going down in beer country? Like that'd be weird. It's like I don't know, that'd be riots the second someone tries something like that.
You want me to do what?
She's drinking? Excuse me? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like drinking is such a huge part of professional culture as well over here. Like, I mean, I know the Navy things and whatnot. I know the Americans are a dry Navy now, but we have like things where you'll have like a glass of port on the bridge with all the officers, or like beers after getting into port with the whole team on the flight deck. So
bridge to fridge.
Yeah, bridge to fridge, loud and clear and cold.
Used to get whenever you used to raft on a NATO trip, it was customary to send a little pallet across with a shot on to the ship you rafted against to.
Yeah.
Get in.
Yeah. Send someone a bottle of gin or something.
Yeah, again, light line Jack Stay with just a bottle of brandy across it and nothing else is a Raz.
Yeah, so even when we at work in uniform, alcohol is a thing. So I don't think just banning it everywhere would be worth something.
Yeah, it's certainly on the decline. I think the Roger Nige. It's not gone though, but it used to be.
It's all because they stopped giving out daily rum rations.
Yeah,
it's
stopped
been downhill since.
Because of woke. Black was it?
Black
Friday?
Day.
Black Top Day. It was the 31st of July, 1971.
Yeah,
it was the final tot of rum issued in the Royal Navy.
No more splicing the main brace.
Well, we still do that. No, we still do that. Still do splicing the main brace. We did it for I've only done it a couple of times, but it comes through. So, Roy, I don't know if you know this, but splicing the main brace comes through as a signal from the monarch.
Yes.
To raise a toast, and we did it for what was his name, Little Prince George, and the other princess getting born. We did it for them too.
My uncle Billy joined the Navy just after Black Top Day, so he was gutted that he didn't get his daily toy rum.
I remember your Uncle Billy. Yeah, I met him at your stag. Yeah,
sound guy.
Okay, cool. That was a weird little diversion.
Also, You see, this is like what I said. This is why we are the premier defense military film thriller podcast, man. Tens of listeners. we are tolerated worldwide by
Speaking
two
of
mighty
listeners.
handfuls of people.
I'm going to get to the categories now where we ask some pretty random little questions here. Jen, I don't know how many of you've listened to, but we tend to ask if this movie would be better with a handful of actors or characters in them. So the first one is a triumvirate, all played by Harrison Ford. Would this movie be better with Dr. Jack Ryan from the Tom Clancy movies, Dr. Richard Kimball from The Fugitive, or President James Marshall from Air Force One? Guys, what do you think?
It's a tough one. That is a tough one, actually. Jack Ryan's Catholic enough to be in this film. He is well Catholic enough to be in this film. Completely. Absolutely. This would be like, obviously, Jack Sr., I guess. Well, I mean, the thing is, canonically, Jack Ryan's dad was a cop in Boston, I think. So he could have transferred there after Chicago, but it's like... But yeah, the fucking Jack Ryan Sr., his dad would have been there and just Catholicing up the place. You know, he hasn't just got his like St. Jude thing on him. He's got tokens and trinkets of all the saints. You know, he like makes a noise like a jailer when he walks. He's got a key ring with like icons of every Catholic saint known to man. You know.
And if it was Jack Ryan, do we think he's going to be trying to take him down for tax evasion, or is he just going to try to take Al Capone out himself?
Yeah, just you've got to just act decisively. Your unilateral wet dream.
This worse depends which Jack Ryan it is, doesn't it? If it's John Krasinski's Jack Ryan, he's going after the money.
Yeah.
But if it's Harrison Ford's Jack Ryan, he's probably just taking some names, isn't he?
You're not evading taxes anymore.
Yeah.
He's going to print out a document so fast that's going to get you in prison before your feet even touch the ground. It's going to
evade this motherfucker.
I'm not sure President James Marshall would have banned alcohol in the first place. I'm pretty sure President James Marshall would have he would have looked at the Volstead Act and been like, "Get off my plane," and just thrown the documents out of whatever presidential aircraft they had at the time prior to the Air Force One from call sign. Get off my plane. He throws it out of his little biplane, and then the Volstead Act's null and void. And
get out of my Senate. Yeah,
my Senate.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Cool. I think we've answered that question. Is there a role in this movie for a weird little guy played by Peter Falk of Columbo fame?
We have a weird little guy. Do we need a second one?
Are you referring to our friend Oscar Wallace?
I mean, I don't really see Peter Falk with a shotgun.
I can see Peter Falk with a crinkled up trench coat going like, the financial disbursements.
Yes, yeah, that one. Mr. Capone, I've just got one more question about your income.
Why does this
my wife usually does the taxes, but I've noticed that.
I don't know about you, but in my house, my wife does the taxes. But in your house, nobody does the taxes.
What's up with that, Mr. Capone?
Could you imagine if, through some quirk of fate, Peter Falk ended up playing the Malone character?
Yeah.
That's so fucking funny. It'd be so good. This little raggedy kind of Columbo-esque guy just being so menacing. I love it. But yeah.
I imagined it'd be funny if he played the bookkeeper as well. So his entire role was just to be like held menacingly by, I'll tell you what you want. I'll tell you what you want. I'll tell you what you want.
Incredible.
I don't think there's a role for Lieutenant Commander Samuel L. Jackson, U.S. Navy, in this film, but there is a similar film that I think we should cover called Hoodlum from 1997, which stars Lawrence Fishburne and tells the story of Bumpy Johnson, which was another, and Dutch Schultz as well, which is about African-American gangsters in Harlem in New York during Prohibition. So the same time period, different city, different gang, but that's a really good movie, which also has Andy Garcia in it.
Well, that sounds class. That sounds mint.
Yeah. That's a movie that's
already on the clear and present list, right?
It is indeed. It also has Richard Bradford in it, who was in this movie as Mike, the old Irish cop, chief of police. So yeah, there's lots of crossover.
Sweet.
Cool. Again, towards the end, last couple guys, I got wrong off you, Rory, for not including this last time, so I'm going to include it. Is this movie pro or anti Central Intelligence Agency?
This film is entirely CIA neutral. The CIA did not exist, but the USS didn't exist either, because the last one, had the USS kind of involved tangentially. So while I admit I did give you wrong for it, it was deserved.
Indeed. I suppose
it might qualify as IRS propaganda.
I was going to say the IRS isn't mentioned in name, but you're absolutely right. I think it's federal government coded.
Yeah.
Fed-pilled.
Fed-pilled, yeah.
Fed-pilled, incredible.
Fed-pilled in somebody else's lane, thriving, overstepping my boundaries.
So, I forgot the scores now. I think we're still 6-3 against. Okay, Rory O'Toole, have you got any notes from the peanut gallery?
Methodical removing of the glasses says, yes, indeed, I have notes from the peanut gallery, and they are good ones. This film's got some very interesting opinions from people on friend of the podcast, Letterboxd, not a sponsor yet. There's a lot of people who are giving it like bizarrely weighted kind of scores. We have 3.5 stars. Kevin Costner is a bad actor. 3 stars. Not entirely sure what the point of this was. We've got ones that are really dead set against this film as well. 1 star. This was so bad. And Costner is so fucking bad. Every time I see him, I get angry. I give this movie a 1 star just because I have to do it for America. I give this movie a 1 star just because of De Niro. Robert De Niro as Al Capone was amazing. He was incredible, but the whole movie was trash and boring and distasteful. And I want to punch Costner. He played with my nerves. I hate him in this. I hate him in this. 2.5 stars. Not terrible, but fairly shite. 4 stars. Just, I never knew there were so many anti-Italian slurs. 4 stars. What you say? The entirety of the review. 2.5 stars. Dad really wanted us to watch this film. I don't think it's really my sort of thing, and also too much shooting. It is a dad-coded film. And 1.5 stars, yeah. Kevin Costner does the worst possible Chicago accent. It seemed like everyone was having a who could act worse off. Also, Robert De Niro portrayed Al Capone as if Al Capone was trying to act as Robert De Niro. Cool suits, though. Some absolute bangers here. I think Kevin Costner makes every movie he's in corny as fuck. Should have had way more scenes with De Niro. De Niro's character was really the only good thing about this movie. 2 stars. And the best one here. If they're not plotting, they're brooding. No in between. And just a 3-star one. The extent of the 3-star assessment is Robert De Niro looking like Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And just a great one here. 5 stars. Now that's a fucking film, by the way. Absolute banger. Sean Connery is a fucking... Why do I think this was written by a Glaswegian?
Go on.
Now that's a fucking film, BTW. Absolute banger. Sean Connery is a fucking hammer in this film. Great music too. How mad was Prohibition, BTW? That sounds Glaswegian in my head. That sounds like my father-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just a 2-star here that's kind of scathing. This is the last one we'll end on. That was not good. Mostly because of Costner, but partially due to some silly scenes and a score that didn't always fit the tone of the movie. Fuck you. The story relies on the lead being able to relate to the audience his internal moral struggles. But Costner plays it far too small. Costner just can't portray subtleties or big emotions, at least not in 1987. I think he's grown as an actor since then, but his early work is so flat. Well, he is kind of flat in this film. There was, however, some excellent camera work and directions typical of De Palma that compelled me to finish the movie. Also, Connery and De Niro were fun to watch, but water is wet, fork found in kitchen, etc.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Divided opinion.
Yeah. Here endeth the notes from the peanut gallery. I believe so, yes.
Yeah. Right, cool. Final category, and this is where I'm going to open the floor to you guys completely. Ding Chavez Award for the missed opportunity in the movie. Jen, for your awareness, Ding Chavez is a minor character in the Tom Clancy universe who gets not enough to do in the film Clear and Present Danger, which is why we've called this category that. But yeah, guys, what did this movie not do that you think maybe it should have done?
I mean, what didn't it do? It went from Chicago to cowboys and
That's a really good point, actually. It did a lot of things.
I'll let you guys give a real answer, though.
It missed the opportunity. There was Mounties getting into full-on close combat range with lances and just skewering these guys. Just these Mounties are like, we are no longer asking permission, and just getting on the bridge, lances couched, just skewering these Italian Americans, making a real kebab out of them. It missed that opportunity.
Yeah, that scene had a missed opportunity in some way. I mean, that's something that has sort of irked me a little. Like, the entire film has no issue with blowing up little girls, getting children into the middle of gunfights, exploding people's heads and whatnot. And then there's this tight-packed bunch of Mounties on horses, on a bridge, and there's like a dozen people with machine guns firing at them.
Yeah.
And none of them are dead afterwards. What's going on there? I refuse to believe that 12 people with Thompson guns could miss that sort of target completely.
Like Star Wars stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that makes it, calling that a missed opportunity makes it sound like I would really love to see some dead Mounties. That is distinctly not the case, but yeah, that was a bit off from the rest of the film.
Yeah.
So I think I've got a reason why that happened. And because you're absolutely right, it doesn't tie in with the rest of the movie in terms of how guns are operated, especially a Tommy gun, which has incredible accuracy if you point it at Sean Connery, but at nobody else apparently. Which is when they...
It's that Irish-seeking ammunition they have. That's why they
It
missed the
only
Mounties.
works when you're aware.
When they filmed this sequence between what's meant to be the Canadian border, they actually shot it in Missouri. I forgot the name of the bridge now. But all the riders on the Mounties are just locals. They've drafted in to ride the horses. And they had room in a field adjacent for 100 or so other people just to spectate what was going on, just to watch the scene get filmed. But I think because they got regular local people from nearby to ride the horses, they probably didn't have them doing any stunt riding for getting shot and falling off or anything like that in case it had something to do with the insurance. That's my theory. But that's how they shot the scene anyway.
So that's a parallel to Lord of the Rings, really.
It is, with the
Kiwis grabbing a random
and the Rohirrim
horse girls and putting beards on them.
Horse girls with beards on them, incredible scenes.
Have you...
That's okay.
So my only missed opportunity, my serious one is the way the really thin home life they've got for Elliot Ness, for narrative economy, I guess. Makes it a very kind of good guys versus bad guys, nobody's complicated kind of story, when actually Elliot Ness's home life was a lot more complicated. You know, he had 3 wives, he was a bit of a jackal lad, and not the kind of whiter than white hero he's portrayed to be in the movie. My less serious one is, I know we said earlier on we didn't really want it, but I still would like to see at least a deleted scene of the racetrack shootout where they pull the guy's fake mustache off.
I wanted to be Sean Connery who did it. Wait a minute, lad.
It is Sean Connery who does it in the screenplay as well. I'm gonna find the line. So what happens is there's a racetrack. The race that this guy's about to bet on is for a horse called Paymaster, and they're waiting by the bookies' little caboose because the final bets are coming in for that, and the guy obviously is going to want to put a bet on, and he's meant to have slipped his handlers from Capone's gang, so that's how they're going to get him. Turns out it's a trap. A bunch of Capone's thugs pull up in a big oil truck, and
Truck.
Yeah,
Yes.
Malone
It's
shoots
another
it.
fucking war rig.
Yeah, Malone shoots it with a gun, like a shotgun or something, and it bursts into flames and spills over, but more goons get out of it somehow and start walking around the fire that's formed. So there's the street's on fire, there's people running around, these guys come out, it's a big trap.
This is a very different film at this point. This is a very different film.
This is very much like when I had that deleted scene from Enemy of the State we were talking through.
Yeah.
So, angle. At the front of the oil truck, Ness and Stone coming around the truck. Malone in the foreground, bookkeeper between them. Ness to Malone. Let's get him to safety. Malone and Stone holster their guns. Stone. Mr. Payne? Angle. Payne, who has been standing in the middle of the battle. He takes a submachine gun from under his arm, pulls the bolt on the submachine gun, and starts to level it at Stone and Malone. Ness takes aim. His gun clicks on an empty chamber. He draws another pistol from the small of his back and fires, killing Payne, who's the bookkeeper. Angle, Malone, the dead Payne, Ness and Stone. A beat. They advance on the fallen body. They pause above the body. They turn the body over, angle on the fallen Walter Payne. The three Untouchables standing above the body. The men look at each other. Malone bends down to the body. Malone, kneeling by the body, reaches for Payne's mustache, pulls it off. It's an imposter. Malone stands. Ness. Well. And now we're back where we started, aren't we? Malone. I have a lead. You go back to the store of the DA. I think I know how we can find this guy. Stone. I stopped fighting too soon. Ness. Mr. Stone, yes you did. If you get into it, you do not stop until one of you's dead. Malone. I didn't know you carried a second gun. Ness. You never needed it until you need it badly. Here endeth the lesson. So Ness gives Malone a lesson.
Oh,
yeah. But that dilutes the impact of him saying here endeth the lesson at the end of the movie, though, I think.
And it doesn't make sense when put in context with the big shootout at the station, because a lot of that kind of hinges on the fact that he's got a shotgun, he's got a sidearm. There's not an additional sidearm, and then Stone comes in clutch with the throws it. So yeah,
indeed,
it's a very different kind of film. I'm glad they took that out.
But on the words, here endeth the lesson. We here endeth the podcast, I think. Guys, one bit of business before we depart. We talked offline last time about doing our next movie being a particular film. I want to change that. And I want to posit to you a notion that we stick with Brian De Palma. And we do, potentially, if you guys agree, Mission Impossible from 1996.
Yeah.
The first one.
Let's do it.
Or a Christmas film. But, I mean, up to you.
So you want to watch Die Hard?
Not necessarily Die Hard, but
let's do Mission.
Any Shane Black film.
Cool if Mission Impossible one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Right. All that remains to be said is thank you very much, Jen, for joining us. I hope this hasn't been too boring with me and Rory basically talking incessantly.
Well, this has been exciting and very first podcast. It's always like one of those things. Sometimes it'd be cool to have a podcast. So I'm like, I have nothing to talk about. I'm kind of related to Al Capone, so here we are.
That's awesome. Well,
it's been a total pleasure having you, Jen. Absolutely.
Thank you.
It has, and you have an open invite whenever you want to come back.
All right, awesome.
Fantastic.
Cool.
That's great.
Tell me whatever movie you're doing ahead of time, and I'll watch it.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Right. All that is left to be said then, and we try and do this in unison every time. We've never once done it, but we have been
clear
and present dudes.
That was the closest we've been to being synchronized.